From Oakland, it's Game 5. The Twins and the Athletics. It's the American League Division Series. Winner take all.
Now is the time.
Tick. For 2 consecutive years, the Athletics tasted the bitter frustration of Game 5 defeats at the hands of the Yankees. But with 103 regular season wins, the A's are confident that now is the time to eliminate those postseason demons.
Now's the time.
With wins from Mark Mulder and Barry Zito, the A's pushed the underdog Twins to the brink of elimination. But yesterday in Game 4 at the Metrodome, it was the A's that melted under the intense spotlight of playoff pressure.
Ground ball to short. Tejada goes to third, and he throws it away.
So the Twins have stayed alive, and the series returns to Oakland even 2 games apiece. The Athletics turned to 19-game winner Mark Mulder in their 3rd attempt to win that elusive Game 5. The Twins counter with A's nemesis Brad Radke, who ended Oakland's 20-game winning streak back in September. For the loser, there is no tomorrow. The decisive Game 5 is upon us. From the Network Associates Coliseum in Oakland, it's Game 5 of the American League Division Series. The Twins turn to Game 1 winner Brad Radke. He's up against Game 2 winner Mark Mulder. The A's and Mulder will be facing Torrey Hunter and the young Twins when we come back for the 5th and final game on ABC Family. It is a fabulous day here in the Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area. Temperatures in the 80s on the eastern side of the bay. The Minnesota Twins and Oakland Athletics. It's a winner-take-all Game 5, and the Oakland Athletics take the field. It is not a real big crowd. Lots of empty seats at the Coliseum, but they've got the noisemakers, the Thunder Thumpers in Oakland colors, and it's going to be a loud day here at the Coliseum. The Minnesota Twins trying to continue their underdog ways and win it, with Jacques Jones in left field, Christian Guzman at short, Corey Koski at third, Matthew Lecroy hitting cleanup the DH, Torrey Hunter in center field, Doug Minkiewicz at first, Michael Kadire hits 7th and right, A.J. Pierzynski the catcher, and then Denny Hawking at second for Rivas. Hello everyone, I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. Weren't you in St. Louis just last night?
Yeah.
Man, you get around. And there's a lot of excitement here in Oakland. You're going to hear it right now. The Athletics have their left-hander, the 19-game winner, and they feel with Mark Mulder on the mound, the Twins who don't hit lefties well, that they've set it up nicely to win this one. On the other hand, there's one little rub. He is working on 3 days of rest, which he has never done.
Well, John, remember one thing. Percentages hold up over the course of a season. But for one game, one at-bat, throw the percentages out of the window. Sure, the Twins had trouble with left-handed pitchers, but Mulder is not the Mulder they saw the 2nd game of the series. Remember this, he started Game 5 last year, so this is not new for him. But I don't expect the Twins to go away easily. Brad Radke pitched great in Game 2. I think he'll pitch great again tonight. I think we're looking for a great ball game today.
And there's Radke. He got a win here on Tuesday, and he's the guy the Twins want on the mound, the veteran. But here's Mulder, and he's the guy the A's want on the mound, going on 3 days of rest. Now, Tim Hudson went on 3 days of rest yesterday at the Metrodome, and it did not turn out well for the Athletics. So we'll see with Mulder. He's got a wide variety of pitches, and when he's got at least some of them working, he's one of the toughest to hit in the league. And John, his first pitch, fastball, is a called strike to Jacques Jones.
And I want to correct them. I said Brad Radke started Game 2. Actually, he started Game 1 when the Twins had so many problems defensively.
And that's a foul, strike 2. Jones has hit pretty well in this division series. And a fastball is off the outside.
One thing Mulder has to do is establish to these left-handed hitters that he does have control of his curveball today, because that's the pitch that will make a difference in this ball game for him against the Twins.
2-2 now. 80 degrees at the Oakland Coliseum, and we'll probably get warmer as we go along, at least early on. Just a spectacular day. And that is Hatteberg, and that is one away.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Mulder. I think the defense is especially important in a game 5, but it's going to be even more important for the infielders to play well. I think you're going to see infield play be the determining factor from a defensive standpoint on both sides today.
There have been a lot of defensive shortcomings. In fact, Oakland yesterday, talk about a forgettable game. They gave up 7 unearned runs in that game alone yesterday. A single game franchise record in all of the many postseasons in which the Athletics have competed. The only other time that an Athletics team gave up that many unearned runs in a postseason game was 1905. There's that big curveball, and that missed.
But again, that's the important pitch for him. Not the fact of using it, but keeping it in the backs of their minds that they do have to deal with that kind of a pitch.
Now the curveball, and that is in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike to Christian Guzman. Guzman has only 3 hits in 16 at-bats in this series. He did hit a home run against Mulder here on Wednesday. That is into the alleyway, right center field. And it's going to go through to the wall. Dye will have to chase it. Guzman has great speed. He hits second, and he's going to go for it. Here comes the relay. The throw, he slides, he is out! Mark Ellis took the relay from Dye and had it waiting at third in the glove of Chavez.
I'm not going to criticize Guzman for this play because you want to be aggressive, especially on the road. But it appeared to me that any kind of a relay was going to get him because he was just rounding second when Dye picks the ball up. He's just getting his second base. Dye gets it back in quickly. He actually overthrows him, but Ellis jumps up, makes a nice play, and throws to third, and you see he's clearly out. But you got to give him credit for hustling, and you don't want to be tight in the 5th game. You want to try to make things happen.
Big curveball to Corey Koski, and that is in there for a strike. Shades of Game 5, the deciding game of the 1974 World Series here at the Coliseum. Reggie Jackson to Dick Green to Sal Bando, and Billy Buckner going for the extra base was gone. And that's right to Dye, hit hard by Koski. So the Minnesota Twins are quickly retired. 1 hit, nobody left, and the Athletics are coming up. There's Art Howe in his 3rd consecutive Game 5 in a division series as a manager. And here's his lineup. It'll be Ray Durham, the designated hitter. Scott Hatteberg at first base. Miguel Tejada is at shortstop. Eric Chavez at third base hitting cleanup. Jermaine Dye, right field. David Justice in left field. Mark Ellis, who made that fine relay throw at second base. Terrence Long hitting 8th in center field. And Ramon Hernandez is the catcher batting 9th. But on the mound for the Twins is the veteran, the 29-year-old Brad Radke. Been with the Twins since 1995. He's been through a lot of losing where he was the ace of the staff. Chose to stay in Minnesota. Probably got less money staying there than he would have gotten in the open market. But now Radke in his 2nd postseason start. And remember, he's already won 1 game in this series. Ray Durham.
And here's the Twins defense. They let Radke down in Game 1, but they are a good defensive ball club. And as I said, I think defense is going to be the most important key today, and the infield defense especially. But we've already seen defense take an important role. We saw Dye to Ellis to Chavez cut down a runner, and that's what you have to do on today's game. You have to make the plays. And
that's a called strike on the outside to Ray Durham, hitting .250. with 1 home run and 3 doubles. What he hasn't hit in this series yet is a single. Up and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. We're talking about Art Howe managing for the 3rd consecutive year in a Game 5. You and Art Howe played together in a Game 5 in a league championship series with Houston 22 years ago.
I wish you wouldn't remind me of that, but yes, we did. Art was a teammate of mine. Great teammate.
There's a bunt, but it goes foul. Pierzynski pouncing on it. And so the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Durham. Well, I bring it up because it was one of the great league championship series back in the days when they were a best of 5. The Phillies and the Astros. I mean, it seemed like every game was tense, tight, extra innings, leads changing hands in the late innings. And your Astros ultimately fell to the Phillies. Up the middle. Here comes Hocking, but no throw, and it wouldn't have mattered with Durham's speed.
This was Denny Hocking's first action in the field, and it was surprising to me how much he's playing in the pull. Look how far he is over there. When that ball goes up the middle, you have so much ground to cover up the middle. And Durham is not a pull hitter as such, but they were playing him like he was a pull hitter, and Durham gets a base hit.
Luis Rivas, the regular second baseman, not in there. He got a little hamstring problem. And although he told Ron Gardenhire that he was fine to play, Gardenhire said he never even brings stuff like that up. So he figured that it would be better to let Rivas take the day off. There's a ball inside to Scott Hatteberg. So they're going with the veteran Hocking anyway. Hocking has done real well against left-handed pitching. And he's been around for a long time.
Well, he's a good player. That, in my opinion, that's coaching. You have to watch him and help him with his positioning. He hasn't been out there, so you help him, you know, to position himself. That's what coaches on the bench are for.
2 balls and no strikes now to Scott Hatteberg. And you see, Hocking has had success against Mulder. And the Twins, who have not done well against lefties as a team, Hocking leads the club in hitting against all left-handers. Mulder, who had a quick first inning with a little help from his defense. Guzman tried to stretch a double into a triple. That is whacked into center field. Torrey Hunter. This time he catches it. Unlike Friday at the Metrodome. So Torrey aggressive again, and this time with the catch on a much better track out there in the outfield. The groundskeeper here, Clay Wood, since Wednesday's game, installed about 40,000 square feet of sod out there in the outfield.
Well, this is why he's such a great outfielder. No hesitation. He was aggressive in Minnesota, and it cost him a home run. But there was no hesitation. Balls hit, he comes, gets it, and that's why he's such a good outfielder. If you make one mistake, you do not compound it by playing cautiously the next time. He immediately came after that pitch, that ball.
You see out there in center field how much better it looks than Tuesday and Wednesday, when after the football seating had been put out there last Sunday, the grass had almost disappeared. There's a fastball a little bit low to Miguel Tejada, Oakland's great star shortstop, but he has largely been held in check in this series. Only 3 hits in 17 at-bats, although he does have a homer and 4 runs batted in. Only a 176 average for Tejada. Durham at first, 1 out in the first, no score. Changed up on it. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Clay Wood installed about 40,000 square feet of sod out there in the outfield, and also in the foul area back behind home plate. So the field not only looks infinitely better, but it'll certainly play a lot better. That's what it looked like game 1 on Tuesday. You see that outfield area. The grass had just about all died. 1 ball, 1 strike to Tejada, and back to the bag at first is Durham. So you saw what it looked like on Tuesday after the football game, and here's what it looks like today. That same center field area. It actually looks like a beautiful baseball field again. A ball and a strike. Tejada fouls it off to the left. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now when sod is installed like that, Joe, are there places where it might not have taken hold yet, that the footing could get treacherous a little bit later on?
Well, when you put in new sodding, of course, you're not sure exactly where the soft spots are when you water it. Some spots may hold water more than others. It looks better. I think it's more for aesthetics than anything else, because it's still going to be fast out there. Maybe not as fast as it was opening of this series, but it's still going to be fast.
Foul back to the screen on a fastball. So the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. I mean, it was so fast here on Tuesday and Wednesday. I think the only thing faster is the surface at, I don't know, Daytona or Indianapolis. That was fast.
Well, we saw the ground ball go all on through the infield, go all the way to the wall. That definitely explained.
It was a funny play-by-play statement to make that day. Ground ball to second, a triple. Tejada deep and foul down the left field line. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Miguel Tejada. Eric Chavez on deck. You're in the power portion of the Oakland batting order here. Tejada had 34 homers and 131 driven in. Chavez, who's on deck, 34 homers and 109 RBIs. Durham led off the inning with an infield single. He's still at first. Miguel Tejada, he's not a big guy in stature, but extremely powerful. Stays alive again, fighting it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The umpiring alignment for this game 5. A 6-man crew with Joe West behind the plate. Las Diaz at first. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, at second. Chuck Merriweather at third. Alfonso Marquez along the left field line. Darrell Cousins along the right field line. This is the same crew that Joe and I saw Friday night in our telecast from Anaheim. Struck him out. A fastball on the outside.
Radke makes a great pitch. I mean, this is off the plate outside. Tejada had fouled a couple, and when he gets 2 strikes on him, you will get him to go out of the strike zone if you make it close enough where he thinks it's going to be a strike. That pitch there was clearly out of the strike zone, but it's a good pitch by Radke because he had fouled off so many.
So Tejada now 3 for 18 in this series with 6 strikeouts. Here is Chavez. That's a strike. Now Chavez has had 5 RBIs in this series and is hitting .353. And he had 2 RBI singles against Radke in game 1 last Tuesday. Radke gave up 5 runs in that game, but was victimized. I mean, the defense behind him was horrible, and had the Twins not made all of those errors, likely none of those runs would have scored. Leaning back with a high fastball. This is Chavez back in game 2 against Joe Mays, and he had a 3-run first inning homer that almost made the second deck. Eric Chavez, big and strong. There goes Durham. Swing and a miss. Krasinski's throw is late and offline anyway. And the Athletics with their first steal attempt of this series.
And to be honest with you, that's almost a joke when you have guys who can run and you do not use them at all. I mean, Ray Durham, one of the best, base stealers in baseball, and you take that away from him. You see, he got a great jump. No chance for Krasinski. Watch, the throws are not even close. And I mean, if a guy can steal a base like that, it's unconscionable to me that you don't let it happen more often.
So now base hit can mean a run. Durham, who is a weapon in that way. That one down the right field line. Off into the corner goes Kadire. He is there and makes the catch as he slams into the wall. He caught the ball just on the fair side of the line and then hit the wall just on the foul side, and he held on to it. The inning is over.
Well, he got jammed on this, so he didn't get enough of it to get it out of here.
No score.
Hi, Reese Davis, Jeff Brantley with you in the studio. Of course, in the American League, the Yankees were eliminated yesterday by the Angels 3-1. Here's the final out. Nick Johnson making it. Who matches up better in our game with the Angels?
If you're going to beat the Anaheim Angels, you've got to neutralize their offense. The Oakland A's have the pitching to do that.
And, of course, in the National League, the Braves and Giants played Game 4 tonight. Levi Hernandez 5-0 in the postseason.
5-1 after today.
You heard it here.
All right, Jeff Brantley making a prediction on that Giants game tonight with the Braves just across the bay from here at Pacific Bell Park, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, and will be televised on the Fox network. Right now we've got a game 5 here. The Giants trying to get to a game 5 with Livan Hernandez over against Tom Glavine, who's going on short rest. Mark Mulder facing Matthew LeCroy. LeCroy, who has had 2 hits in 6 at-bats in this series. Big chop. Now, he's not a real fast runner, but this is going to be a tough play. Tejada with Mulder coming after him and also looking up into the bright blue sky and that harsh sunshine. Base hit.
Well, he chops it right off home plate. And I mean, when the ball goes this high, it's almost impossible for anyone to make the play unless it's on AstroTurf. Because watch, it just stays down once it hits the ground, and Mulder was in the line of fire there for Tejada anyway.
So Tejada probably did the wise thing, trying to keep himself and Mulder from both getting injured.
Right.
Chasing a high chop that probably they had no play on anyway. Here's Torrey Hunter. That fastball just missing on the inside. Torrey Hunter, the Twins' big RBI man in the regular season, has 2 RBIs in this series, 5 hits, 15 at-bats, including 3 doubles. Hunter had 94 RBIs in the regular season to lead the Twins. That ball is a base hit to left field. Hustling over is Justice. LeCroy around second. He's going to go for third as the ball is kicked around by Justice out there, and into second is Torrey Hunter. Runners at second and third with nobody out.
Well, Torrey Hunter gets the ball pretty much where he wants it, up and out over the plate, and he hits a bullet down the line. This was going to be a double for him anyway, but I'm not sure what LeCroy was going to do. Long run for Justice to get there, but once he gets there, he's not able to come up with it cleanly, and LeCroy goes into third base. But like I say, it was going to be a double for Torrey Hunter anyway.
Well, it looked to me like LeCroy, as he came around second, was intending to go to third. With Justice as deep as he was. We'll see how the scorer looks at it. Here's Minkiewicz. And Mark Mulder is in a jam here. Minkiewicz, who could get an RBI with a ground ball toward the middle infield. Joe, as you often point out, that could be a very big play offensively.
Well, I think you have to pull it to the right side. You can see at second base they're playing back. You pull it to the right side, the run will score from third, and Torrey Hunter will move over to third with less than 2 outs.
That one is caught, and let's see. Diving safely back in is Torrey Hunter. Just ahead of Tejada. Minkiewicz hits one hard, but right at the shortstop. But also it was not a ball that he pulled to the right side.
No, this is a line drive, and it's hit behind Torrey Hunter, so he starts to move, and then quick reaction gets him back in time. You see, Tejada's only chance is to try to dive and get there because Ellis couldn't get there quick enough.
So Minkiewicz could not get that runner home from third. Now Kadire is going to be walked intentionally with another lefty coming up next in A.J. Pierzynski. There's Pierzynski.
Pierzynski swung the bat really well in this series, and I think this is more of just trying to get out of this inning without any run scoring. You give yourself a chance to get a ground ball double play.
Pierzynski, who was 1 for 6 in the regular season against Mulder and 0 for 2 against him the other day. So the Athletics, by getting Minkiewicz out without anybody scoring, now have a scenario to get out of this inning with nobody scoring after the Twins had runners at second and third and nobody out. So somebody patted Minkiewicz in the back there. Behind Minkiewicz there. His coach is Steve Little, the bench coach for the Twins, under manager Ron Gardenhire. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. And this big crowd that was so loud at the beginning, and a little nervous right now. Pierzynski, who's a tough hitter, good at making contact. Fastball to the inside, called a strike. Brzezinski had 4 hits in game 1 on Tuesday, and has gone 2 for 8 since then. Tejada at short, Ellis at second, double play death. Lee, Croy, Hunter, and Kadire are the base runners. There's Hunter, number 48, at second. He hit a double. And right there, fastball, strike 2.
Because Mulder has such a good curveball, it's in the backs of the left-hand hitter's mind that he's going to break one off any moment now, and that's one of the reasons you're seeing Brzezinski take 2 strikes, especially after he took the first pitch fastball for a strike. He felt like he'd come with a curveball.
0-2, 3 men on. And that's a foul. Another fastball there.
Well, once you've thrown him 2 fastballs, he's taken them. You feel like he, in the back of his mind, he's saying he has to throw the curveball now. So you try to strike him out with a fastball. This, you know, the location is supposed to be in. It gets a lot of the plate.
Now Brzezinski, after making Mulder wait, back in the box. 3 men on, 1 man out. Mulder tried to wriggle off the hook. Ball is foul again. I don't know if that was a cutter or what.
It wasn't a curveball. It looked like it could have been a little cutter, like he was trying to start it inside and let it get the inside corner.
Still 0-2 to A.J. Brzezinski. Brzezinski is awfully tough to strike out. You've got Lee Croy at third, Hunter at second, Kadire at first. Brzezinski had a couple of games earlier this year where he had 13 pitch at-bats consecutive days. Fouled off 20 pitches in those 2 at-bats. Fouls off another one here, down off his foot this time.
Well, it's kind of like a game of chess. You think that he's going to throw you a curveball, so he doesn't. He keeps coming with the fastballs. And Brzezinski's doing a good job of fouling them off. Pretty tough pitches. They're all both on the inside part of the plate or off the inside corner. But he still has not seen that curveball that can break down and away. Everything has been inside, so he hasn't set up for the curveball anytime he wants to throw it.
0-2. Fastball off the outside. 1-2. He seems to staying away from that curveball.
Well, he was trying to go, you know, he fired him up inside a couple of times, so he figured, well, the outside is open. So he tried to hit the outside corner, and that was worth a shot. But if he doesn't throw the curveball here, then he's not going to have an opportunity to throw it.
Mocking a switch hitter on deck. And a bloop. Tejada out. The Twins won, the Athletics nothing. Last of the second from the Network Associates Coliseum. The big combination football, baseball stadium alongside the basketball hockey arena here. It used to be the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Complex. The Athletics only down by a run. Mark Mulder got out of a tight spot. There's a called strike, and well, he was still kind of perplexing that the Twins, with one of their fastest runners, best runners, Torrey Hunter, only got the 1 run.
Well, it's not the responsibility of the third base coach to score you. It's the responsibility of the runner to get a big enough lead at second base that he can score on a base hit with 2 outs. Because with 2 outs, you go on contact. You don't have to wait to see if the ball goes through the infield or where it ends up. And you have to get a big enough lead at second, get a good enough jump on the swing that you can score, whatever that means. And we'll take a look here. First of all, he's too deep. Look how big a circle he's running here. But you're supposed to be able to score. This is the longest throw you can have from the outfield, center field, on a base hit single. The other outfielders are charging in, and they'd have a shorter throw. But with 2 outs, it's the responsibility of the runner to get a big enough lead to score.
Fouls it off to the right. So in other words, Newman read the situation as it was, not as it should have been.
Exactly.
And determined that where Hunter was now, he was not a good threat to score.
Exactly. Because, again, it's not the coach's responsibility. It's the coach's responsibility to hold you up if you can't make it.
Jermaine Dye, the hitters, had a big series. 7 hits, 16 at-bats, 1 home run. And he chases that changeup from Brad Radke. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Radke, who has a 1-0 lead with which to work now.
And remember, Radke controlled the A's very well with his changeup and variety of breaking balls and the sinker. And you can see here that ball clearly out of the strike zone, and Jermaine Dye went for it because he had 2 strikes.
Well, back on September the 6th at the Metrodome, the Athletics came into town with a 20-game winning streak, only to be shut down by Brad Radke, who pitched the shutout, and that was the end of the streak for Oakland. Of course, then Oakland turned around and shut out the Twins the next 2 nights, beginning with Mark Mulder. Justice with a pop-up, Denny Hocking, and that retires David Justice very quickly. David Justice has been in a lot of these winner-take-all type playoff games. He's played in 8 of them, including World Series, Division Series, NLCS, and ALCS. He's been in 8 of those, tying in with Mickey Mantle, Lonnie Smith, for the most of all time. Now he's in his 9th. His teams have won 5 of the 8 winner-take-all type games, such as is today's. And Dave's had some big hits in some of those wins. But he's a quick out here as Mark Ellis takes a called strike. Well, the speed of the base paths, the aggressiveness, that's supposed to be the Twins' stock in trade, especially against the more powerful A's in this series.
Well, it's kind of ironic because in Game 1, they did not score a runner from second base on a blue pit down the left field line, and the Twins were upset, especially Torrey Hunter. Now they do not score another one, and you can see the bench was again visibly upset, and rightfully so. I mean, you have to make the plays. You have to do your job in these situations. That's what the 5th game is all about. The team that makes the fewest mistakes usually will be the team that wins.
Another changeup. 2-2 to Ellis. Ellis 5 for 15 in the series. Been a lot of offense in this series. Both teams have scored 22 runs. Each team has had a blowout victory. Oakland here on Wednesday 9-1. The Twins yesterday 11-2 at the Metrodome. Fastball popped up. In foul ground, Krasinski trying to shade the eyes for that fierce sunshine. He's got it. And the inning is over. So the Twins get him a lead, and Radke dispatches the A's post-haste. Guzman, Koski, and Leakroy coming up. Minnesota Twins 1. The Oakland Athletics none. Top of the 3rd inning. Twins perhaps feeling like it should be 2-0.
And 2-0 is a big difference from 1-0 because every swing of the bat you can tie the ball game. The A's can look at themselves right now and say we're not going to lose this game 1-0.
Christian Guzman, and the sharp curveball from Mulder in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. Guzman, who hit 20 triples 2 years ago. He hit 14 last year, even though he ended up having some injury problems that put him on the shelf for a long period of time. But only 6 triples this year. Fastball outside. So going for the triple is not unusual for Guzman.
Again, I didn't think it was a bad play. I mean, it required perfect execution by the A's to get it.
That one is into left center field. Terrence Long on the run, and this is off the wall. And into second is Guzman with a double. Now that ball took off. And on a warm day, temperatures in the 80s, you can expect the ball to carry real well today.
Well, this is a high fastball, and he hit it hard. It's only 362 to that area. That's not a long alley. High fastball out over the plate. And it's not that far. I mean, 362 is just not a long way, first of all. And he hits a line drive off the wall. Long plays it perfectly, but no chance to get Guzman before he gets into second base.
Guzman, he's just got a lot of speed, and he ran hard. So he's at second. Now Corey Koski, who lined out to right his first time. Well, Mulder is not displaying that air of invincibility that he displayed on Wednesday in his first start in this series.
True.
Working on 3 days of rest for the first time as a big leaguer. Koski looking to pull the ball. He pulled that one, but foul. He gave up 5 hits in 6 innings in his first outing on Wednesday. He's given up 5 hits already in 2+ innings today.
Well, he has not used his curveball very often in this ballgame. I think 2 things happen when you throw your curveball. It starts up high and it breaks down. That makes your high fastball more effective as well. You can get them to chase that pitch up there.
That curveball. That's what you're talking about.
Well, every time he's thrown it, he's had good success with it, but he just has not used it a lot. Well, the key to a good breaking ball is starts in the strike zone and tries to break down and out. That one got a lot of the plate, but it's still a great breaking pitch because it started inside against a left-handed hitter.
You see his game 1 numbers. Only 90 pitches thrown to that one. Fastball down and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now the history in the last 3 years of pitchers in postseason play going on short rest is not good for the pitcher. 23 times it's occurred with 3 days or fewer days of rest. And those pitchers have a combined record of 2 wins and 12 losses and a 7.14 ERA, including Jared Washburn's win yesterday on 3 days of rest. That was a hard breaking ball, check swing, and no swing, says third base umpire Chuck Merriweather on the appeal. Catcher Ramon Hernandez not happy.
Well, it's a curveball. This one's in the dirt, and you might want to question that. The barrel of the bat looked like it went forward, but third base has a better angle of where the bat actually travels because he's looking right down the line.
Koski trying to get Guzman over, and he strikes him out. Well,
he gets the strikeout that he really needed here because Koski was up there trying to pull the ball. I have no idea what that is unless it's a splitter. Yeah. It's a splitter.
Mulder, who has so many weapons. The curveball, then the splitter, the good effect there. The Twins have not done well in their situational hitting so far. Here is LeCroy. He got an infield hit his first time, pounding one down off of home plate, and that started a rally in the second inning. He ended up scoring the only run they got out of it. Twins lead 1-0 in the third. Guzman at second. LeCroy has had some success with Mulder in this series. He's 3 for 4 against Mulder in this series. During the season, hit .260, had 7 homers and 181 at-bats. Guzman at second. Fastball too far in. 2-0. Torrey Hunter on deck. We're talking about pitchers on short rest and how poorly they've done the last 3 years. Washburn got a win yesterday for the Angels on short rest. Jamie Moyer did it last year in the division series. Tim Hudson, though, got knocked around yesterday at the Metrodome, although the defense certainly failed it. That's back to the screen. 2-1 now to LeCroy. Tom Glavine has lost a couple on short rest. Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, Bartolo Colon, Freddie Garcia. There's Tim Hudson.
Well, Mulder just got away with one there. That was it was supposed to be a fastball in. 2-0, and he left it right over the middle of the plate. And LeCroy fouled it back.
That's Guzman, who hit a double to lead off the inning. He's at second, 1 out. There's that big curveball, and LeCroy just does make contact with it. 2-2 to count.
Well, it's not so much just that it's a great breaking ball, but it forces the hitter to know that in the back of his mind that it's there. But if you do not throw it, and you throw basically fastball splitter, I mean, that's what they're going to look for. But that speed there changes the hitter's perspective of his approach to hitting you in these types of situations.
Up the middle, base hit. And here we go again. This time, Guzman will score without a throw. So LeCroy gets the base hit, and the Twins lead 2-0.
Well, that's the same pitch he threw him 2-0. He was supposed to try to get it in, and he left it in the middle of the plate. He got away with it 2-0, but LeCroy doesn't let him get away with it here. Watch, it's supposed to be inside. Look where that pitch is, right over the middle of the plate, and he doesn't miss it this time. Now, Guzman, well, he takes a shorter route, first of all, but, I mean, again, you're just supposed to be able to score from second base on a single or center field. It's just such a long throw, and it takes a long time for the ball to get to the outfielder.
And we're talking about real fast running.
Right.
Guzman's got a lot of speed. Torrey Hunter's got a lot of speed.
And it wasn't even 2 outs there, and he didn't even, you know, and you have to wait till the ball goes through the infield.
You know, it looked to me, Joe, also like to begin with, he had a much bigger lead than did Torrey Hunter.
I agree.
And
plus he was closer to the baseline. Hunter ran farther than Guzman did.
He was out of the baseline over toward the shortstop. Here is Torrey Hunter off the fists. Tejada to get one there, and Ellis lost the ball, but in making the exchange, the out is recorded at second base. LeCroy called out Jerry Davis right there to make the immediate call that he dropped it in making the exchange from glove hand to bare hand.
Well, he made the correct call under the rules. You'll see that he does catch the ball. He catches it, and now he tries to move it away. I'm not so sure that I like that rule, even though, you know, I played that position. I think you should still control the ball. Right. See, I mean, Twins are, you know, they want everything, and I mean, rightfully so. I mean, if you're the A's in that situation, you'd be asking for the same call.
Now Minkiewicz, well, it puts a lot of heat on the umpire.
Right.
I mean, generally speaking, if the guy just makes a move toward the glove with his hand and it falls out, then they say it's making the exchange. It'd be a little simpler call if the rule was you just have to hold it.
Well, I think you have to control the ball. At least take it out of the glove.
Big curveball misses to Minkiewicz. Minkiewicz lined one to short his first time.
The process now says you can be starting to take it out of the glove. I mean, I'm not sure he ever controlled that ball.
I mean, right there, it was like, where was it?
Yeah, I mean,
it looked like he just missed it.
Yeah, I mean, did he ever control it?
But he went through with that throwing motion as if maybe just for the benefit of the umpire. Hatteberg gets the unassisted put out on Minkiewicz, but the Twins add another run. They put 2 runs on 6 hits on the board against Mulder. Oakland is trailing. The Minnesota Twins 2, the Athletics nothing. Last of the third in Oakland.
In order for you to catch the ball has to change direction. There's no direction change. Look at that ball go straight through. He never caught the ball. He never controlled the ball. It hits off the heel of his glove and continues on through. If it goes the other way, it means that you caught the ball and you were taking it out. He was never taking the ball out of his glove. And there again, that's why I say I don't like that rule. But you can always act like you're attempting to take it out of your glove.
And it's a tough,
he did.
Tough call for the umpire. And Ellis, I think, showed that he's a real heads-up guy, though. Continuing through at the deep.
Well, you always make the throw at second base. I mean, I don't care if you don't have the ball or not. You always act like you're throwing it, and you make it the call.
But he didn't act like he was throwing it until after he leaped over the top of the runner.
Now watch, the ball doesn't change direction. See that? Now watch, it comes out there. When did he ever control the ball? Now you have to be taking it out of your glove. He wasn't attempting to take that ball out of his glove.
Now look when he actually pretends like he's throwing it.
Right.
I mean, that wasn't any kind of a continuation.
No.
Like he'd started the throw and was continuing it. That was, he knew that he'd missed that ball, and anyway, it worked. He's a smart guy. Terrence Long. This is Guzman. And Long hustling up the line, but he is out. 1 away. Fans, beginning October 19th, it'll be 13 nights of creepy movies, scariest places on Earth, dares, and the extreme illusions of Criss Angel, Mind Freak. 13 Nights of Halloween begins October 19th on ABC Family.
Number 55, Ramon Hernandez, catcher.
Now Ramon Hernandez, the Oakland catcher, comes up. Well, it's not often that you do a national telecast of a playoff game, and you might say to the people who live in the area, hey, if you're somewhere nearby, come on over. Plenty of good seats available. I mean, there are no more fans here today than we had here for games 1 and 2 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and the thought was then, well, weekday 1 o'clock games, tough to get the people out. Well, it's a Sunday now, and it's an incredible weather day, temperatures in the 80s, and acres of empty seats at the Coliseum. I mean, we have no more than 30 to 35,000 somewhere in there at this ball game. And they don't come bigger than this. At Game 5, the winner moves on to take on the red-hot Anaheim Angels. Ramon Hernandez just off the outside. I mean, I guess maybe the Minnesota Twins are just not a good draw here, even in a Game 5 of the postseason. Art Howe not worried about it. That's a foul out of play. A ball and 2 strikes to Ramon Hernandez. So maybe they're just too expensive, Joe. I mean, if the people didn't buy them, then they must be too expensive, right?
Well, I mean, I've heard those thoughts expressed, but I don't know if that's the complete reason.
Fastball swung out and missed by Hernandez. So Radke with his 3rd strikeout.
And Radke's doing exactly what he did in Game 1. He's controlling the A's with his variety of pitches. Every once in a while, they'll look for the changeup or the slider, and he throws the fastball by them.
And I think he's been very smart today. He has not allowed them to hit any pop-ups toward the pitcher's mouth. 37 pitches thrown, and more than 3 out of every 4 have been in the strike zone. There's ball 1 to Ray Durham. That is only the 3rd time to the first 10 hitters of this game that he has not started them with a strike. Well, Kazon thought it was a strike. Durham into center field deep. Going back is Hunter. Still going back. This ball is gone. A home run! And just like that, the Athletics have a run on the board.
If the A's are able to come back and win this ballgame, I don't care what happens later, that will be the most important swing of the game. With 2 outs, no one on, they're about to go down again in order, and Ray Durham cuts the lead in half. And now Radke knows that he can be hurt. See, until you score against a pitcher, he doesn't think that you can score on him. Not a good pitch from Radke, one of the very few that he has not thrown where he wanted. But until you score on the pitcher, he thinks that he's not vulnerable out there. Now he knows that they can score on him. That makes a big difference in the ball game.
Third ball for a ball to Scott Hatteberg. That is grabbed by Minkiewicz. What a play. 40 out at first with Radke covering. But the Athletics, who could have been behind by 2 or 3 more runs here, on one swing of Durham's bat, have cut the lead in half. It is 2-1. Ray Durham, the veteran, with his 2nd home run of this series. 2-1 Minnesota now as we head to the 4th inning. The last third of the Minnesota order coming up with Kadire. And then Hocking, the 7, 8, 9 spots in the order. Mulder is off the outside again. 2-0.
But you see something, I see a change in Mulder this inning. Now he's throwing the fastball away.
2-0 count.
Which is the way he should have been pitching to some of the hitters earlier. The A's philosophy on pitching, hard in, soft away. That's basically the way they pitch. And that's okay if you have your best fastball and everything is working. See, the pitches away is tougher for a right-hander to handle from a left-handed pitcher because it's running away. And he was trying to get a couple of pitches in this ball game on the right-handers earlier, left them over the plate, and they hit them hard for base hits.
Up the middle, and that's a base hit for Kadire. Threw him a curveball and didn't really have that big break on it.
It looked like more of a change. It was a curve. It definitely didn't look like his normal curveball.
Well, it was curveball speed anyway. Yeah. 76 miles an hour.
See the pitch again. That's not a curveball. That's a changeup. It didn't look like a curveball. I didn't think it was a curveball. So that's a changeup.
All right. Kadire was right on it.
But I like the fact that he threw his fastball away because the Twins know the philosophy of the A's too. They know that they like to pitch inside. And if you can get the ball in there, okay. But if you're not, they're sitting inside and they're hammering it.
Back to the bag at first is Kadire. 7 hits for the Twins now. In the second and third innings, they put 6 men on the bases, but only got 2 of them home. We'll see how they're playing it here for Pierzynski, who popped out to short his first time. That was with the bases loaded and 1 out in the second. Hatterberg to Tejada for 1.
Nice play.
He holds on to it.
That's a nice play because he had to throw on the run and make sure he gave Tejada a good throw. And as I said earlier, infield play is going to be big in this ball game. You know, if you don't make any mistakes, obviously you're going to help your ball club. And so far, we've seen good infield play by both teams. Now watch this play from Hatterberg. Now, this may seem like an easy play, but look, he's still running. He's on the run. I mean, this is like a quarterback trying to hit a guy on the run. Look at that throw, perfect throw to second base. And it wasn't an easy play.
Not Denny Hocking, who knocked in the first Minnesota run. He got the clutch 2-out hit back in the second inning. Starting in place of Rivas today. Back to the bag at first is Pierzynski. 2-1 Minnesota in the fourth. Now, by the way, you mentioned quarterbacks. Talking about the crowd here in Oakland today. Remember, there's a game at Pacific Ballpark later today, just across the bay. There are about 43,000 fans there. And also, across the bay at Candlestick Park, there's a 49ers football game. And then what 67,000 at that game. So there are a lot of big-time events going on here in the Bay Area, drawing a lot of fans all at the same time.
But I agree with you. This is the only big game in town. This is the only one that decides something for sure.
Well, the Braves are hoping to decide something over at Pac Bell.
But that's not a sure thing. This is a sure thing. Someone here will go on to the next level today.
Well, that's Pacific Bell Park. There's McCovey Cove right behind the big wall out there. And they'll be playing in about 2 hours and 40 minutes over there. Also, the Beta Breakers race is going on today. First time in years you haven't run in that. And back to the bag is Pierzynski at first. I mean, thousands of people running that Beta Breakers race. And over there somewhere, Joe, maybe even in the clubhouse, even as we speak at Pac Bell Park, maybe listening to us right now. Is there any advice you want to give to Tom Glavine or Livan Hernandez?
Not my game.
They don't need any advice anyway. They've been there many times before. That's a base hit down the line by Hocking into the corner. Pierzynski digging for third as Justice returns it to the infield. A stand-up double for Denny Hocking. And the Twins now have 8 hits against Mulder, and their best guy against lefties this year has been Hocking, and he is 2 for 2.
And they're hitting the ball hard. I think that's the key that you have to look at if you're Art Howe. Not the fact that they have 8 hits, but how are they swinging the bats? And they are swinging the bats well. Again, it's supposed to be a fastball in. I mean, I don't know why they continue to try to hammer these hitters, right-handed hitters in when he hasn't had any success doing so. He hasn't gotten one hitter out trying to bust them inside. Like I said, you pitch inside if you have your good stuff. He does not have his good stuff, obviously, because he can't close the hitter out inside.
Twins bring the infield, or the Athletics bring the infield in on the left side, and halfway in on the right side. Ellis, the second baseman, is not all the way in as Jacques Jones tries to deliver a run here.
This is a dangerous call here to play the infield in this early in the ball game. It's the 4th inning and you're only 1 run down.
Turned that fastball over, ran it inside. Jones is grounded out to first and struck out in this game. And Jacques has struck out 6 times in 17 at-bats in this series.
When you bring the infield in, obviously you cut down the range, and anything hit hard usually goes through the infield.
Curveball, that is foul right past Jerry White, the first base coach. Art Howe making that call here with Rick Peterson, his pitching coach, alongside.
Well, you know, they see that they're not scoring a lot of runs, but it's still early in the ball game. We're only in the 4th inning.
And this might be a little different than what he would do ordinarily in the regular season. Strike 3 call.
Well, it doesn't matter. Good job there by Mulder. Fastball on the outside corner. But he's not out of the inning yet because Guzman is hitting hard. Again, this is what I like to see. Go away from the hitter sometimes. I mean, when you have your great stuff, you can jam hitters. You can do just about anything with them. But obviously, he has not been able to get many hitters out inside in this ballgame. So why pitch in there and continue to get hit?
Jones is 0 for 3 today, but here's Guzman, who's hit 2 doubles. And the big curveball. He didn't get it. 1 strike to count. The Twins have had many opportunities just like this one. Runners at third, less than 2 down, but they've had a heck of a time bringing these guys home.
But if you continue to put the guy in trouble, you keep putting runners in scoring position, you keep this up, someone's going to get a hit. I mean, the percentages say that he's going to make a mistake and they're going to get a base hit.
2-1 Minnesota. The curveball knocked down by Ramon Hernandez. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, Guzman has hit a double to right center. That was in the 1st inning, and a double off the wall in left center in the 3rd.
Curveball in the dirt. Good job by Hernandez. See, he doesn't even try to catch it. Just block it. That's all you want to do. You don't really care about catching that ball. You just want to make sure he stays in front of you.
Hernandez seemed to have second thoughts there. Mulder started his stretch, and then Hernandez waved it all off. The runners, Pierzynski at third, Hocking at second, 2 men down. 1 ball and 2 strikes down to Guzman.
Like a little cutter down and in, or a splitter with something hard down and in. Good pitch.
So Guzman has had 2 swings and misses in this at bat. So Mulder trying to get out of a jam again. This will be his 70th pitch of the day. Runners at second and third. Jermaine dive. Twins let yet another great opportunity go by. 2-1 Minnesota. The big guys coming up. Tejada, Chavez, and Dye for Oakland. Minnesota 2, Oakland 1. Last of the 4th inning, and the view from up above the Coliseum today provided by the Saturn Light Shift. Saturn and its retailers hope you're enjoying the American League Division Series, the Athletics, and the Twins Game 5. Ray Durham got the A's a run in the 3rd just before he hit his home run. Rick Anderson, the pitching coach for the Twins, sitting in the dugout. He's wearing a microphone. Here's what he said.
I like to see him up with 2 outs and nobody on, though. Didn't lead nothing in it. Stay in here.
Well, when he's talking about rather than having leadoff inning, I think he's remembering with the White Sox when he used to steal some bases. And you don't want the leadoff hitter on that's going to steal a few bases.
It's just not part of the A's game. He got into 54 games with Oakland after he was traded over here. Did Ray Durham and had 6 steals. He had 26 steals all told. Miguel Tejada see Miguel start doing what he did so often in the regular season. So far, the Twins have done a very strong job with him. Tejada 3 for 18 in this series. He struck out in his first at bat today against that man, Brad Radke. 2-1 Minnesota. I mean, so far in this game, it's like the Twins have been up about 80% of the time.
Right.
I mean, they get men on base. Mulder's in the stretch. Big pitches over and over again. Then Radke goes out there, strike one, strike two, and 1 out, 2 out, you know.
Right. Well, that's why you want to get some rhythm for your team and just keep them plugging away. And eventually, if Mulder continues to put men on, someone will get the big hit.
Back to the screen.
And remember, we talked about them having trouble, the Twins having trouble hitting left-handed pitch. Well, and again, that works over the course of a season. Percentages work. But in one game, like the 5th game of any series, you can throw all the percentages and things out the window. Anything can happen. And we've seen that. The Twins have hit Mulder hard during the first 4 innings.
There's one of the rare Radke pitches out of the strike zone. Now, the Twins, I mean, if you're a Twins fan, you got to feel a little uneasy that your team has let so many opportunities go by, though. I mean, as you say, it's a positive sign, but it's not just a question of not getting the big hits with men in scoring position. It's also been a question of, you know, not hitting the big fly ball, not getting a runner over from second to third with nobody out, things like that.
Not scoring from second on a base hit.
Tejada with a bloop. Hocking going out and makes the catch. He went one way and then had to spin back the other, looking up into that harsh glare of the sun.
Well, Radke has done just the opposite of what Mulder's done. He has not left many balls middle of the plate in. This pitch is away, even off the plate, and Tejada swings at it. He struck him out on a pitch off the plate last time. So that's exactly the game plan. Stay away from the power of most of these hitters on the in the A's lineup.
Eric Chavez, and he floats that one through there for a called strike. Chavez drove one deep to right. It was caught right in front of the foul pole by Michael Kadire to end the first inning. Oakland has only had one at-bat for the man in scoring position. That was Chavez in the first inning. And even then, it was about one pitch of his at-bat.
Right.
Two strikes. That's when Durham stole second, and Chavez hit the next pitch for the final out of the inning. And Radke's really been excellent off the outside with a fastball. 2-1. You got to be ever so careful. A right-hander facing Eric Chavez. Chavez hit .301 against right-handed pitching. Twins have left 6 men on base today. 2 hits and 8 at-bats with men in scoring position. I mean, through all of that, you only have a 1-run lead.
Well, he's sitting dead red fastball, and he gets it, but it's way up and out of the strike zone, and he can't handle it.
That's where it looks like Radke's inside of the head of the hitter. Knows he's thinking fastball, throws him one, but it's not a good one to hit. Change up, right center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Kadire over to pick it up.
And that's pretty good hitting there by Chavez, because Radke really gave him a lot of motion with that pitch, like he was going to muscle up and throw the fastball by him again, and then he slowed his arm speed down through a changeup. And Chavez hits it toward the end of the bat, but he still gets the job done. Another good pitch by Radke. You just have to give the hitter credit sometimes for getting a base hit. That was a changeup down and moving away, and Chavez just reached out and poked it in the right field.
But Chavez is aboard. Jermaine died. Now, he's had some real big hits in this series. It's a foul out of play. Jermaine died. A couple of games here, it seemed like anytime the Twins would get a big hit, Dye would come up the next inning and get it right back for the Athletics. Today he struck out at his only at bat. There's Bill Dye, Jermaine's dad, in the ballpark today. Wearing an Athletics hat. You got Athletics pins, Athletics t-shirt. And Radke down and away with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. in 25 career at-bats against Radke.
And one thing I've noticed with Radke when he pitches to Dye, I mean, he stays away from Dye, especially early in the count. He may come off the plate inside after he's ahead, but everything is away. And there's another pitch away.
Well, here's Radke ahead of the count again, as he's been almost invariably throughout the day. He's not gone to a 3-ball count on any hitter yet. Dye fights it off.
So it may look, you know, like you can come inside on some hitters, which you can. But, I mean, right there, there's nothing Dye can do with that pitch. If you're ahead of him 2 strikes and you throw that sinker down and away, I mean, you might get the ground ball that you're looking for. But the one thing you know, Dye's not going to hurt you with that pitch right there. And that's what I see Radke doing very, very often with Dye. He just does not give him a pitch that he can handle.
Just off the outside with a fastball. 2-2.
And Dye finally lays off that pitch out there.
2 runs, 8 hits for the Twins. 1 run, 3 hits for Oakland. Radke has 3 strikeouts, has not walked anybody. Chavez has just hit a single. He's at first. For the second time today that Radke has had to work out of the stretch. There goes the runner. And Dye, protecting the runner, lunges out of the strike zone to foul it off.
Well, what Art Howe was figuring there is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Radke wants to make it happen here. He doesn't want to go to 3-2. So he figured Dye was going to get a good pitch to hit, but Radke still does not give in. He still throws that ball toward the outside corner and down, and Dye does a good job of fouling it off. Well, it's good to see that the Athletics are not just going to sit and wait for the home run. They're going to try to do something.
I mean, they need to, the way Radke is throwing right now. Chavez not running. The third. Koski, they get one and not the other. The relay from Hocking in the dirt, saved nicely there by Minkiewicz. When the ball gets past the first baseman here with all of that foul territory, the runner's going to move up a little bit.
And for the A's benefit, he hit that ball 1 pitch too late. With the runner going, he would not have been able to force him at third base. They would have a runner in scoring position. Well, he gets a good pitch to hit finally. Fastball, that's pretty much in the middle of the plate. And he pulls it to third. And a nice throw to second. Hocking really didn't have a chance at first, but he tried to make the turn.
Minkiewicz saved that one with his gut. A gut save and a beauty. So Dye is the board down. Chavez having been forced out. Good hustle by Chavez too, trying to take out Hocking to make sure there was no double play. And Justice right back to Radke. We've seen very little of Justice at the plate today. 2 pitches and he is 0 for 2. He popped out his first time. Radke is dazzling the Athletics. Koski coming up. 2-1 Minnesota. It is Minnesota 2, Oakland 1. 2 runs, 8 hits to 1 run, 3 hits. That's the Oakland Coliseum. And aerial coverage of today's American League Division Series game courtesy of Saturn and the Saturn Light Shift. Keep your eye on the sky when the Light Shift visits a major sporting event. And we are very pleased to have them with us today. Mark Mulder with a big curveball in the dirt to Corey Koski. The numbers 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Coming up for the Minnesota Twins, Koski, the third place hitter, then Matthew Lecroy and Torrey Hunter. Koski has lined out to right and struck out in this game. High and foul off the left field line. It's a very warm day, especially for this area. Temperatures in the 80s at the Coliseum. Where's that fog coming in through the Golden Gate? And the crowd is rather quiet right now. They've been trying to create the excitement, create that din and whatnot, and to inspire the A's, but Brad Radke's not allowing a lot of it.
No, I mean, the pitcher he's controlling the A's offensively. And it's funny because, you know, we're in Anaheim Friday night, and the Yankees scored 6 runs early, and the crowd in Anaheim was just sitting on their hands, but by the end of the ball game they were into it, and It's up to the team to get the fans excited. Do something.
That was the loudest, most excited I've ever heard a crowd in Anaheim. I don't mean I've heard them loud and excited, but not just inning after inning.
It was a very good game, first of all.
And that is all for Koski. So he is now 0 for 3 against Mulder. 4 strikeouts for Mulder.
Well, he has handled Jones and Koski. There's a little splitter down, and it says he's got the strike zone. I'd have to question that to see splitter and the bottom drops out of it.
You're questioning K-zone?
Yes.
You're not going to sue us, are you?
Well, there's a theoretical strike zone, there's a hitter strike zone, and there's an umpire strike zone, and there's a pitcher strike zone. So there are a lot of different strike zones.
What about the batters? What about the broadcaster strike zone?
I don't get into that. I'll leave that for you.
LeCroy. That is a strike. I think he said it was in there, did Joe West. But all 8 of the Twins' hits today have been either by right-handed hitters or by switch hitters batting right-handed. The lefties haven't had a hit again.
No. Well, he's handled the left-handers pretty well, but I mean, I just think that some of the pitch selections with runners in scoring position has hurt him, but he's been able to, wiggle out of trouble. I mean, he's only trailing 2-1, and we're in the 5th inning. Plenty of time.
I mean, he's done a great job in limiting the damage. Right. I mean, they've had threats against him over and over and over again. That's too high to LeCroy, who's had 2 hits and a run batted in and a run scored. The lefties in this one are 0 for 10 against him. But look what the right-handers have done. 8 for 10. LeCroy 2 for 2. Guzman 2 for 3. That's called a strike. 3-2 now. Torrey Hunter 1 for 3. Kadire 1 for 1 with a walk. Hocking 2 for 2. The right-handed hitters. Struck him out.
Another good splitter. Well, he's gone to a splitter more in the last couple of innings, and he's had a lot of success with it. Drops right down out of the strike zone.
What did you feel about K-Zone's interpretation of where that pitch was?
Oh, I thought that was a strike. Yes, I thought it was a strike.
All right.
And it dropped out of the strike zone as it went past the strike zone.
So you've got pitcher strike zones, batter strike zone, umpire strike zones.
That's all in theoretical strike zone.
And then there's your strike zone. I'm calling yours the journalists.
No, please.
1 ball and no strikes to Torrey Hunter. One misses. We at 2-0.
I'll accept analyst strike zone, not journalist strike zone.
You're not a journalist?
No. I'm an analyst.
I mean, a journalist just reports a story.
I know,
and
but
explains the story.
But I'm an analyst.
What you do.
Well, that's what an analyst does as well.
Torrey Hunter has doubled and hit into a force play.
I went to school to be an analyst. I didn't go to be a journalist.
2-1, the Twins are leading Torrey Hunter. Joe had a little analyzing of Torrey's base running back in the 2nd inning. That is called a strike on the inside. 2-2. Torrey backing off from it.
One of the few pitches that he has been able to get all the way in. See the target in? He gets that pitch up and in, and he gets the call. But the other pitches, when they've tried to go in, they've left him over the plate.
There's a splitter in the dirt. 3-2 now. Well, he has not had an inning. Mulder has not had an inning where the Twins have not had anybody on base. I mean, he's been needing an inning like this. Let's see if he can get it. 2 out, nobody out. 3-2 to count. Struck him out. He strikes out the side. His first perfect inning, and it came against 3 of the Twins' biggest hitters. 2-1 Minnesota. Ellis coming up. Game 5. Winner take all. The Minnesota Twins are leading the home-standing Oakland Athletics 2-1. Last of the 5th inning. Temperatures in the 80s. Bright blue sky overhead. A spectacular setting. And the Athletics coming up now with Mark Ellis, the 7th place hitter, against Brad Radke. First pitch foul, and Radke throwing strikes as he's been doing all afternoon. He's given up just 3 hits. He has not walked anybody.
John, that last inning by Mulder can be an inspiration to his teammates to get something started. I mean, that was a beautiful inning by Mulder, and sometimes it can inspire you to get something started.
May have been a sea change in this one. I mean, it's just been the Twins with one threat after another, one assault after another against Mulder, but Mulder sometimes has been doing it with, you know, duct tape and
well, that's what happens sometimes when you're working on 3 days rest in the game today, because guys pitch on 4 days rest.
That one is pulled foul by Ellis. 1 ball and 2 strikes, but Mulder has somehow kept the Twins from fully capitalizing, and one of the ways he's done it is the lefties have not been able to get a hit against him.
Right. John, that you take guys out of their norm, you know, they're used to pitching on 4 days rest, and they can do it maybe once in a while, and it works, but overall it just doesn't seem to work.
Change up, down and away.
And that's quite a contrast to what we used to see when Bob Gibson go on 2 days rest and pitch 2 games, and guys would do that a lot more, but it's because they're not asked to do it now. They're not prepared to do it.
Base hit. Torrey Hunter over to pick it up. Ellis is going to hold it first. He thought about it. Hunter's throw goes to the middle of the infield to Radke. Ellis had the big turn, but Hunter got it back quickly.
Well, I said, you know, this should be the A's inning if they're thinking properly. We've got to do something now. We don't want to start feeling the pressure as the innings pass by. And a good job by Ellis. I mean, he doesn't try to pull his ball. It's a fastball away, and he goes into left center field.
And Ellis has been a guy who has ignited the A's many, many times. He was a leadoff man for them quite often before they traded for Durham. And he really gave them some life at the top of the order. And he gets them started here. It's only the second time today the A's have had their leadoff man reach base. Their 4th hit. Here is Terrence Long. Grounded out to short his first time.
If this was a right-handed hitter, I really believe the A's would bunt. I don't think they will with a left-handed hitter up.
And a strike.
I really believe that if he had a right-handed hitter here, I think the thing to do would be to try to bunt or hit and run. Try to do something to manufacture a run.
Although the man on deck, Ramon Hernandez, struck out his first time, is only 1 for 16 in this series.
Well, you do have other guys on the bench.
I mean, there's no tomorrow if you don't come back and win this one.
Exactly. That's the point.
A long run for Jacques Jones. He gets there, and he's got it in foul ground. Quick throw back in. Ellis tagged up at first, but Jacques got the ball back in a hurry, and Ellis goes back to first.
I have never, seen Terrence Long swinging the bat. I mean, almost the whole second half of the season. I mean, he would hit a lot of foul balls that way. He laid on a lot of pitches. Even though they look like they're pretty good pitches to hit sometimes, he just laid on them. That pitch is off the plate. I mean, and he just kind of waves at it. He's not really aggressively attacking the ball as he did last year.
But now with less than 2 strikes, that's a pitch he cannot swing at all.
Take it. If you can't drive it, take it.
So Long is now 3 for 16 in this series, but here is Ramon Hernandez with only 1 hit, 1 for 16. And he did not hit well in the regular season either, although he came on somewhat at the end.
I mean, a lot of guys struggle in the postseason, but it's how you struggle. Are you aggressive? Are you attacking the ball, or are you just waving at it?
Hernandez shows bunt and takes a strike.
Actually, he caught Koski way back. Koski started in and then backed up, trying to fool Hernandez, and that would have been a perfect bunt if it would have happened. So he starts right here, and then he moves back.
You see him start to pedal backward right now. Knight comes back in at third, and it's right to Koski on a hop. The second one, hopping to first. Double play. So it started promisingly for the A's. A leadoff single and then nothing. Minkevich coming up. The Twins still lead 2-1. Twins still up 2-1, top of the 6th.
Well, we saw Corey Koski faking, go back. He started in and went back. Now watch this. He'll go back, and then he runs in. And this is Twins baseball, and they get lucky here because he gets the big hop. If he's back, he gets the short hop, and they turn two. Nice play, and smart playing there by Koski. If he's back on that, he's going to get a short hop, but he was in, and he got the big hop and was able to turn it.
Here's Doug Minkiewicz against Mark Mulder. And there's ball one. Minkiewicz is lined out to short, grounded out to first. Remember, no Twins left-handed hitter has had a hit today against Mulder. And that one stat just might tell you why the Twins only have the 2 runs despite all of their many threats.
Well, Mulder needs one more good inning, not necessarily striking out the side, but he needs to get 1, 2, 3 if he can, and let the top of the order start off for the A's next inning. They have the top of the order in the 6th inning, and it could be the big inning for him. So he needs to shut the Twins down very quickly here and give his teammates a chance to get right back at Radke.
Michael Kadire, a right-handed hitter on deck. Mulder misses inside. 2-1. I want to go back and ask you about Koski. I mean, after we saw the bluff of the bunt by Hernandez, then Koski started out very shallow. Then we saw him backpedal a little bit, only to come rushing back in again. I mean, what was that about?
Well, I think he was probably trying to decoy, Hernandez into trying to bunt. He was saying, I'm going to go back, you can't bunt, trying to get him to bunt. Or he may have felt like if I start back, Art Howe may put a bunt on, whatever. But whatever happened, it worked perfectly for the Twins.
2-2. Minkiewicz takes low. 3-2. That's 92 pitches, by the way, thrown by Mulder in this game. In only 5+ innings. Twins get some right-handers, get some hits against Mulder today, get on base, and then a left-hander comes up. And he's been handling all of the lefties, such as Minkiewicz. 3-2 the count. To shortstop, Tejada. And there's one away.
Well, we talked about the righties having a lot of success against Mulder. Let's take a look at some of the base hits. Well, the target, that ball's pretty much on target there. The ball's supposed to be inside. It's out over the plate. That's a chopper. That pitch is toward the outside corner. That one is on the outside corner. And that one again. But he has not been able to get any pitches inside, and I think that's one of the reasons that they have been able to handle the ball away. Very rarely has he been able to get the ball off the plate inside. I don't think we've seen but one pitch inside off the plate to the right-handed hitters.
So the ones that he was trying to get away, they were hitting.
Right.
Some of the ones he's trying to get inside, he didn't get inside, and they were hitting those too.
And you have to give the Twins some credit because
Kadire, base hit. Another base hit by a right-handed hitter. Kadire with a big turn at first as Justice hurries it back in.
You have to give the Twins some credit because they handle the pitches away. It's like they were looking for some of those pitches out there because he never did get the ball off the plate inside anyone. Now let's take a look at this pitch. It's a splitter down, and it's pretty much in the middle of the plate. I mean, it's still down. And again, you have to give some hitters some credit sometimes because that pitch was not, in the middle of the plate. It wasn't up. It was down, and he hit a bullet and threw the hole on the left side.
And during the regular season against Mark Mulder, left-handers actually hit better against him than right-handers. But that has clearly not been the case today. I mean, you rarely see such an extreme disparity between what lefties and righties doing against the same pitcher. But look at this. The right-handers have been lighting him up today.
Well, the one reason I don't think during the regular season that left-handers hit okay against him is because he doesn't have a herky-jerky motion. He's pretty much over the top. So you do not bail on him. The left-handers that cause problems for left-handed hitters are guys who have a herky-jerky motion. They drop down or whatever. He's pretty much straight over the top, so you get a chance to see the ball if you're left-handed. He's just going to get you out with good stuff, not necessarily because he's left-handed.
Well, you've got another lefty up there now, A.J. Pierzynski. He's popped up and hit into a force play. Kadire at first. He goes back to the bag. Hatteberg on the bag with him. The Twins lead 2-1. They've had 9 hits in this game, including 4 doubles. They've received 1 walk, but just the 2 runs. 2-1 Minnesota. Mulder has been out of the stretch most of the time today. Denny Hocking on deck. Pop it was too late.
Well, that wasn't a real high pop-up, so no one had a chance to really point it out to him where he could find it. Mulder came off the mound, but he couldn't get there in time because it wasn't a high pop-up. This ball is hit off the fist, and it just pops up. And you see him raise his hands. He said, I didn't see it, and then he finds it too late.
The A's dugout. We have a microphone on Rick Peterson.
Right here, right here. Turn around, turn around.
If that would have been a high pop-up and they told him to turn around, he may have been able to find it. It just wasn't high enough if he didn't see it right off the bat.
And balls in the air are a tough call for anybody with this bright blue sky and the harsh sunshine today. And Pierzynski strikes out. 7 strikeouts for Mulder.
And Mulder's splitter has been more effective today than his big curveball. You see that pitch there at the bottom falls out. It looks like it's up, and see, it's just all of a sudden it just goes straight down. And the hitter, obviously thinking it's going to stay in the strike zone, chases it out of the strike zone.
There's that sunshine. You know, Art Howe, talking about a 5th game, where so many invariables can conspire against a team. You know, just bad breaks can cost you a 5th game when it gets that far. You see Denny Hocking, who's 2 for 2, an RBI single, and he's also had a double against Mulder. A switch hitter, batting right-handed. You know, but I said to Howe, well, you got that bright blue sky again, no clouds. He says, I know, I wish it had been overcast. Even though it had worked against the Twins here in game 1 the other day. But, you know, Art Howe just feeling, hey, it's a game 5. That can work against the A's, too. And he just assumed the conditions were such that something like that, a guy losing a ball in the sun, was not a factor. David Justice in a bad sun field in left, long, and a bad one in center. That's a called strike to Denny Hocking. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They've got to give Hocking a lot of credit, John. He had just stepped in and hit line drives and turned double plays. He's really played a very good ball game in place of Rivas, who had played most of the time.
Well, he's been sort of the Miguel Cairo of this game.
Good point.
Miguel Cairo, who stepped in for the injured Scott Rowland in St. Louis. Heading for second now, and making it is Kadire.
Good heads-up base running there by Kadire. When that ball goes down low, you should automatically take a step the other way or be ready to go. We've seen Mulder throw a lot of splitters down, and that one was down, and it actually got caught up in the face underneath the chin of Hernandez. Then he catches it, but it's just too late.
You know, there is a rule that when a ball gets caught up there that it's a dead ball. I don't know how long it has to get caught up there. Maybe it didn't get caught long enough. 2-1 the count. Runner at second now. Hocking did not get a run. That'll be a wild pitch, by the way, that gets Kadire to second, and Hocking takes strike 2. Well, this is a big spot. I mean, Hocking has had some success today and in his career against Mulder. And a base hit now could mean a run. In the dirt. 3-2.
Well, he's had a lot of success with the splitter, so that's kind of his out pitch right now. And he's been using it well the last 3 or 4 innings. That's what that was.
Kadire at second. And just heads up base runner. Scored as a wild pitch, but he really,
good job of base running.
just kind of stole that one.
You have first base open and a left-handed hitter next. We'll see what they choose to do here.
And that's a foul off the right field line. That pitch looked a little too fat on 3.
Well, it didn't get down. It was supposed to splitter, just did not get down.
Hocking able to fight it off. Pitch was out away from him.
Jock Jones was struck out a couple of times and grounded to first base.
Jock Jones would be next. Kadire at second. Denny Hocking, the veteran. His first start of the series. Strike 3 call.
Beautiful splitter right there. That ball was up, but it jumped back over the plate for strike 3.
One man left. The Twins have stranded 7. Now the top of the order. Durham, Hatteberg, and Tejada coming up. The Minnesota Twins in Game 5 with a 2-1 lead over the Athletics, going to the last of the 6th inning at the Coliseum. Don't miss the extreme illusions of Chris Angel in an all-new original special, Mind Freak, premiering Sunday, October 20th, part of the 13 Nights of Halloween on ABC Family. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. What is your most memorable moment in Major League history? What will the vote decide? Well, check it out. Game 4 of the World Series. The answer will be revealed. Don't miss it. Now Brad Radke. And a first pitch strike to Ray Durham. It's only the 69th pitch thrown by Radke so far. He has not gone to a 3-ball count on any hitter. And 15 of his 19 first pitches to hitters have been strikes. Popped up by Durham, who homered his last time. Hocking out there. Shallow right center, shading the eyes now. Makes the catch.
Nice pitching there by Radke. An off-speed pitch to get ahead, and then he comes back with a fastball that Durham can't catch up with. Here's the fastball from a changeup, and now he comes back with a fastball. He gets a lot of the plate, but because he had started him off with a breaking ball and he had hit a home run off a fastball, he probably didn't have fastball on his mind completely. You have to be committed to the fastball.
So Brad Radke with a 2-1 lead. He's been very good, but he's had to be very good. The Twins have not given him much with which to work as Hatteberg takes the ball very high. Oakland has only gotten one man to second base other than, Durham hit the home run. He got all the bases. But Radke has given up 3 singles besides that homer, and only Durham got as far as second base, and he didn't get there until there were 2 outs and 2 strikes in an inning. So they've had very few base runners, and they've not been able to do anything with the ones they've had. Wow, where was that pitch?
Well, it was inside because it was close, but it was still inside. You could see Brzezinski pull it. Watch Brzezinski pull this ball. Watch him pull it over. See, he pulled it over into the strike zone, but it was close.
I will never question your judgment again. Where was that pitch?
Strike. Okay. But I can just tell by the catcher. You can watch the catcher, and you just watch the catcher.
Look at that. You're on a roll now.
Yeah, he doesn't move it. If you watch the catcher, you can pretty much tell.
3-1 the count. Hatteberg, base hit to right.
I have to tell you something. The more you watch Hatteberg, the more impressed you have to be as an offensive player. He does a lot of things right. He works the pitcher. He gets into the counts. He walks a lot. He just does a lot of things well, from the offensive side. He waits and waits, gets a fastball down the middle, and he knows what to do with it. He gets a base hit. But he has been impressive, but you have to see him every day to really appreciate what he does for this Oakland A's ball club.
Well, that was the first time that Radke has gone to a 3-ball count on any hitter today. Usually, he's been ahead of the hitters, but he got behind Hatteberg, and he got the single. Now Tejada, who specializes in getting big hits with his club, in need of a big hit this year. It's a foul out of play, but so far, he's been quiet for the most part in this series. 0 for 2 today, has struck out and popped out, and 3 for 19 in this series.
John, and watching him, especially today, it seems like he's winding up a little bit, trying to hit the ball hard. He's not like the bat's not flying to the ball like he normally does. It's like he's got a little wind up before he lets the bat go. See how he's late? That's why he's late on the ball. There's a little wind up there. And we've seen him late on just about every pitch today. And when you're late, you're really in trouble because now you're very vulnerable to the changeup and other pitches. Other off-speed pitches. Because in your mind you say, well, I missed the fastballs. I got to catch up with them. And when you try to catch up, you're almost dead on anything else, the changeup or anything off speed. We seen him strike out on one pitch off the plate outside. We've seen him pop up on a pitch off the plate outside.
Fastball low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Let's see, that's a smart pitch by Radke. He got him to chase that pitch with 2 strikes, you know, in 2 at-bats today. But he would not chase that one, but it's a good pitch to throw. Throw it and see if he'll go after the 3rd time.
Chavez, another slugger on deck. Runner at first, 1 out. On the fists, and that was a foul off the foot of Tejada.
Well, smart pitch. If you're going to miss off the plate inside. We've seen Mulder miss on those inside pitches on the plate, and some of them have been hit. But if you're going to miss off the plate. Another good pitch there by Radke.
Fans at the Coliseum had those Korean noisemakers going. Second base. Hocking has it. The second one. Guzman ends up losing it in making the exchange, but they get the force out on Hatteberg.
I still say make them catch the ball. It has to be in your hand before I would call them out. It has to be in your hand transferred.
Yeah. Okay, so you've taken it out and then you drop it.
Right, exactly. That's the way I consider it. He clearly
just didn't catch it.
Well, I mean, what are we going to say here? I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, it's the rule says. I mean, I don't know how you consider that a catch, but you know, we'll see here. See, that's not a catch. He never caught the ball.
When we see it in slow motion, it's clear.
Yeah, but it was clear to me from the first, John. That's why. But you never caught the ball. You're not transferring it to your hand. You have to be reaching in, taking it out with your hand. You can't be bringing the glove over to your hand.
So Tejada has not been able to get the ball out of the infield today. Here is Chavez, who has flied out deep to right, and he is singled. Now, he's swung the bat pretty well against Radke, unlike most of his teammates in this one.
They're going to have to do something about that play. You can't let guys just come across the bag and act like they caught the ball.
Well, we've had 2 of those today.
Yeah, they didn't catch either one of them.
High in the air. Kadire started in and went back a little bit and made the catch. The ball is carrying well, that it's attributed to these pitchers. Only been the 1 home run hit. Down to the 7th inning. The top of the order coming up for Minnesota is Jacques Jones. Curveball to Jacques Jones. First ball swinging against Mulder, and he is thrown out by Mark Ellis. Jacques Jones, a left-handed hitter, is now 0 for 4. He has not been able to get the ball out of the infield today. One of the Twins' best sluggers. Now, Mulder, on short rest, has now thrown 107 pitches. And the Oakland bullpen is busy, so they'll be ready just in case.
But he's actually had better control of the situation the last 3 innings than he did early, John. So
in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings, he was sailing through some very, very rough seas. Gale force seas. Making a nautical comparison there. But now he's back into the sunshine with a following wind. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I know at the end of November sometime you will be sailing someplace.
Sailing off into the sunset,
yeah,
Joe.
As you normally do.
For far-flung places. In fact, at the end of this series, we'll be sailing off to either Anaheim or St. Louis, or maybe not sailing off anywhere.
Atlanta or San Francisco or someplace.
But only on the radio. We're not going to bring all the cameras with us.
Good point.
ESPN radio. That's a curveball. Wow. Where was that pitch?
A little high. It came around the plate. Yeah, see, that one came around the plate.
Quit showing off, will you? And Guzman is down on strikes. Ball ended up in the dirt, and Hernandez throws him out. We've had a couple of plays at second base. where we thought, and Joe feels strongly, that the out should not have been called.
You're supposed to be taking the ball out of your glove. Neither play, he never caught that, so he doesn't have control of the ball. Now watch this one. He sticks his left hand out. Now where's the transfer? The ball never was caught. Now the point is, this is what you have to do. You have to control the ball, be taking the ball out of your glove. And then if you drop it, it should be considered, you know, an out. But we've seen two balls now, but it's both of them happen on both sides. So
a lot of foul room here, and used to good effect there by Chavez. And the top of the Minnesota Twins batting order has been wiped out here by Mulder. He has retired 11 of the last 12. Dye coming up. The Twins, 2 runs, 9 hits. The Athletics, 1 run, 5 hits to the last of the 7th at the Coliseum. The Reese's pitching summary. Brad Radke, he has been outstanding. No walks, 3 strikeouts, a 5-hitter going, 82 pitches, most of them strikes. Mark Mulder, he's been outstanding lately after getting through some real difficult times in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings. But he limited the damage, kept his club in the game. Thrown 113 pitches. And it's amazing because the more the pitch count has mounted, the better he has pitched, even though he's working on short rest. Jermaine Dye, the hitter. He has struck out and hit a force out. He is 0 for 2. David Justice on deck, and Radke throws him a called strike. Now, the Twins bullpen is ready. And this is a very strong Minnesota bullpen. And it is working right now just in case. Radke has only a 1-run lead with which to work. Wow, the changeup. 1 and 2.
Well, this is, if you're the Oakland A's, and we know the Twins have a good bullpen, but guess what? You'd rather face anyone down there right now than Brad Radke. I mean, he is controlling the situation so well, and the key is that he does not fall behind. As you mentioned, he's only had 1 3-ball count. I mean, if he throws strikes, he's going to get you out, and that's what he's doing.
Another changeup. That one misses. Dye, remember, has had a big series. Very dangerous hitter. He hit 18 home runs in the second half of the season this year. Contending with injuries and trying to find his stroke and getting it all back at the big league level in the first half. But a strong finish. That is foul. Down into that Minnesota bullpen where Hawkins, the right-hander, and Romero, the left-hander, are warming up. Joe Mays, who started game 2, is also out there in the bullpen.
Good job by Dye here. At least he shoots the ball the other way. You see, he's been pulling off of that pitch. At least this one, he didn't try to do a lot with it. He just fouled it off. And he's made such great pitches on him out there that he's not going to be able to pull those pitches.
Right up the middle, base hit.
Good job by Dye. He fought off the great pitch, so he gets a good pitch to hit. This is a fastball pretty much in the middle of the plate, and he lines it back through the middle for a base hit. But that's only after protecting and saving himself on a great 2-strike pitch. Now watch where this pitch is. The target's outside, but it's a fastball pretty much in the middle of the plate, up a little bit. And there's his father. He says, I know he can do that. Oh, he says, get a move over. I can't see the hit. There it is.
Guy jumped up in front of him.
Yeah. But his father's kind of like, you know, I knew he was going to do that.
So that's Bill Dye, Jermaine's dad. His dad, Bill, by the way, an athlete, was a player in the NBA in the old days, back in the 50s. The Detroit Pistons, in 1958. Were they the Detroit Pistons then? Or were they the Fort Wayne Pistons then? Or were they the Fort Wayne Zollners? Or the Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons? But anyway, he was an excellent basketball player in the NBA. And Jermaine, a pretty good ball player. David Justice, a pretty good ball player. David Justice once had 5 RBIs in a game against the Minnesota Twins. It was in Game 5 of the 1991 World Series in which he did that. He's 0 for 2 today. And that's a foul out of play. 95, he also hit a World Series winning home run against Jim Poole of the Cleveland Indians. That was Game 6. It was the only run of the game. Then 2 years ago, Game 6 of the Division Series against the Seattle Mariners, and he crushed one against Arthur Rhodes. And they went on to win that game and move on into the World Series. 0-2 to Justice. struck him out with a changeup.
Where he threw him 3 straight.
And Justice has only seen 5 pitches all day in 3 at-bats, and he's 0 for 3.
Well, the first pitch was a changeup. Next one's a high changeup. And you see this? I mean, this is a changeup that he's late on. I don't know exactly what he was looking for, but he was late on that changeup. Watch this. See that? He swings at it when it's in the catcher's glove. And that was a changeup. So he was completely fooled by the speed of that pitch.
Brad Radke with his 4th strikeout of the game and his first since he struck out Hernandez in the 3rd inning. We're in the 7th right now. And Radke is doggedly holding on to a 1-run advantage. 2-1 Minnesota. Mark Ellis, the hitter, he is fouled out and singled in the Minnesota bullpen. That's Hawkins, number 32, the right-hander. Romero, the left-hander, warming up. Ready if needed. Koski over near the line at 3rd. Ellis, that almost hit it. Terrence Long on deck. Brad Radke, who had a shutout against the Athletics at the Metrodome on September the 6th that ended Oakland's 20-game winning streak. And now he's trying to end their season 1 month to the day later here in Oakland. That misses. Well, now it's 2-0. He's not had many 2-0s. September the 6th. Beat them in game 1 here despite giving up 5 runs, although none of them should have scored. A pop-up. Shallow left. Jock Jones is playing deep. He's got a long run and gets there. And almost overran it at that. I mean, again, any ball in the air, especially the left field and center field right now, is going to be difficult.
Well, the changeup, 2-0. Brad Radke did not give in. Threw him a changeup. He hit a high fly ball in the shallow left field. And you hear Jones comes in. And I do like the fact that he never gave up on it. He was coming in to make the catch, and he gets the job done.
I mean, he was playing way back there in left field. So now you've got the left-hander Long coming up. And Gardenhire is going to make a move. So the Athletics might throw a party. Romero is coming in with 2 down in the 7th. And Radke, who was rolling, is gone. 2-1 Minnesota. So Brad Radke is finished after 94 pitches with a 2-1 lead here in the 7th. The runner at first. Terrence Long coming up. Now J.C. Romero, who's been excellent in this series and who was excellent during the season. 9-2 with a 1.91 ERA. So you can certainly see that they would feel confident with Romero. On the other hand, Joe, Long is 0 for 5 in this series against Radke. 1 for 11 this year against Radke. And it didn't look like Radke was struggling all that badly. What do you think? Well, I mean, what was the point of this move? As Long stands in, who's 1 for 5 against Romero. That's a called strike.
I think the only thing I can think of is the fact that Radke had started to miss and maybe fall behind a couple of hitters, and they didn't want a right-hander to be out there and have to throw Terrence Long a fastball. They've been getting him out with everything else, and they wanted to continue that.
Big bouncer. Minkevich has it, and he'll just go over and tag out Jermaine Dye. Didn't even have to make a throw, and just like that, the inning is over. Now to the 8th inning. LeCroy, Hunter, Minkevich coming up. It is 2-1 Minnesota in Game 5. Mark Mulder is finished. Mulder went 7 innings and pitched extremely well. Radke is finished. He went 6 2/3, very strong innings. So it has been handed over to the respective bullpens now. Romero came on for the Twins to get out of the 7th. And now Chad Bradford, 28-year-old right-hander, acquired for the White Sox year before the last. is on in relief of Mulder, and he gives a hitter quite a different look from the left-hander Mulder.
Well, definitely different from Mulder, because Mulder was straight over the top, and he's almost right underneath.
And Bradford's specialty is getting right-handed hitters out. David Ortiz, by the way, is the pinch hitter for LeCroy, and he is thrown out by Ellis. LeCroy was 2 for 3 in this game. He had a hand in both of the Minnesota runs. The young designated hitter. And his manager, Gardner, showed faith in him in this series against these lefties, and he delivered. So Ortiz is gone. 1 down. And now Torrey Hunter will come up. 2-1 the score. The Minnesota Twins out in front. Against Mark Mulder, a left-handed hitter never did get a hit today. In fact, I don't know, a left-handed hitter never even reached base against him today. 0 for 14 against him. There is Ricardo Rincon, a left-hander, warming up in the Athletics bullpen. Minkiewicz, a left-handed hitter, on deck. Bradford has pitched one other time in this series. That was in relief of Mulder. He worked the 7th and 8th innings on Wednesday in Game 2. Gave up no runs and 1 hit in that one. From down under, and the count 0-2 to Hunter, who has doubled, hit into a force play, and struck out. There's Minkiewicz on deck. Oakland will have its 9th place hitter scheduled to lead off in the last of the 8th and then to the top of the order. Twins got 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and had a great threat going with 1 out in the 4th. Runners at 2nd and 3rd as Hernandez goes out to talk to Bradford for some reason. Count 0-2, but the Twins have only had 1 hit and 1 base runner since Denny Hocking hit that double to set up a great threat in the 4th.
Well, Mulder, he seemed to pitch better the more pitches he threw, and he finally found his groove and he pitched well. But I mean, I think the A's have put a lot of pressure on the pitchers in this series. I mean, I know they scored a lot of runs at different times, but Mulder had to come out and pitch great for 4 or 5 innings in Game 2 to win that ball game, and he did. And they've asked a lot of him again today because they've only scored the 1 run.
Hunter fouls 1 away. 0-2 the count.
The one thing about great pitching in postseason, you're going to be matched up against some good pitching as well. And I think that's one of the things that has happened to the Atlanta Braves over the years. They had great pitching. Those guys are matched up against some good pitchers as well. And you're matched up against good teams. So you're not going to just throw your glove out there and beat anyone on any given day. You can do that during the regular season because you face a lot of mediocre teams and mediocre pitching on the other side.
That one very high. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Torrey Hunter. Well, look what happened to Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling.
Exactly.
Matched up against some pretty good Cardinal pitchers.
Schilling only gave up the 1 run, and he left trailing the ball game.
Mulder of those 3 has been the guy who's really had the best record of success in the postseason for Oakland. The last 2 years against the Yankees, this year against these Minnesota Twins. But Mulder's the one guy who elevated his performance. Although the numbers we just looked at were just in this year's series against the Twins. Off the fists again. Tejada throws out Hunter. Hunter now 1 for 4. Not Doug Minkiewicz.
Well, they've got Rincon warmed up in the bullpen because I think at this stage of the game, you cannot give up another run if you're the A's.
Already down by 1. I was about to say, when you're down by 1, you can bunt. You can hit and run. You have
right, exactly.
Except they don't bunt.
Well, but they can. And I think, you know what? I bet you we may see a bunt because they're down to their last 6 outs. And this is kind of interesting. Peterson's going to go out and talk to him, and it's that old, pitch around him, don't give him anything good to hit kind of thing.
You got the right-handed hitter Kadire on deck, and the plate umpire Joe West is going to go out and hurry this along now. Long discussion here with Peterson and Bradford.
you know, a lot of times you go over the scouting report, but I don't think they have a scouting report for Bradford against Minkiewicz. You know, Bradford doesn't have the, you know, normal stuff that you can use against certain hitters. You know, pitch them in and fastball in, fastball away, that kind of stuff. He doesn't. His repertoire doesn't include that. I mean, he has to have a completely different scouting report against every hitter than the other pitchers on the A's staff. But I must admit, I'm a little surprised. You know, and I'm sure Art thinks about it, but you got Rincon out there, and you just can't give up another run.
Minkiewicz is 2 for 2 against Bradford, although both of the hits have been singles. And he takes ball 1.
But it's that old pitch around him theory. If you go, you know, if you pitch around him, go ahead and walk him to get to the right-handed hitter Kadire. I mean, you're also putting a runner on base.
Well, there was the old pitch around Jack Clark.
Yeah.
Tom Niedenfuhr on the mound. 1985 National League Championship Series. Sort of went out, gave him orders. You pitch around this guy. And then about the time he got back to the dugout, Clark hit a home run.
Well, he's definitely going to try to, you know, when he throws the fastball, stay right out there on the edge or even off the edge.
That is just off the edge. 2-1. Minkiewicz against the left-hander Mulder today. Lined out to short, grounded out to first, and grounded out to short. Mark Mulder, 7 innings, 2 runs, although 9 hits allowed. He had 8 strikeouts, 1 walk that was an intentional walk. And Ellis handles this one.
Good job.
Bradford retires the side in order. Hernandez due up, then Durham and Hatteberg. The Network Associates Coliseum, the Minnesota Twins, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Oakland, 1 in the third. Those have been the only runs. We're in the last of the 8th inning now, 2-1 Minnesota. That's a look at the Coliseum from the Saturn Lightship, bringing you aerial coverage of today's game. We hope you've enjoyed the views from the Saturn Lightship here in the Bay Area. We're thrilled to have them with us. Randy Velarde is going to pinch hit for the Athletics. Dustin Moore goes in to play right field for the Twins in place of Kadire. Moore was the more regular right fielder for the Twins during the season. So they got the Korean Thunder Thumpers going here at the Coliseum now. So Velarde stands in. He's never faced J.C. Romero in a regular season game. Velarde, he was injured most of the year, had only 133 at-bats, and he takes a ball. Ray Durham on deck. There's Billy Koch, the Oakland closer, up in the bullpen along the left field line. The Minnesota bullpen also busy. There's LaTroy Hawkins, who was often the 8th inning man for Ron Gardenhire, but he does like to match it up in the late innings. Right back, off the glove. The barehanded pickup, and he got him. What a play by Guzman. Romero's got the glove on it. The ball just tore the glove off his hand, and Guzman with that barehanded pickup. What a play.
And what makes this a fantastic play is that his reactions are so great. Meaning Guzman, he reacts to the ball up the middle. I mean, he's going to catch it, and then he just turns and comes in and barehand pick up and fires to first base. And Romero is telling him, I got leather on it. Now see where Guzman is. Now watch this. See, he breaks. Look at this. I mean, quickly. Unbelievable play. On the second base side, he picks it up and fires him out.
Wow.
I mean, he came a long way for that ball. That's a big league play right there.
In full speed.
Wow. If the second baseman gets that ball, he can't throw him out. Because all of his momentum, meaning Guzman's momentum, was going towards first base.
The trainer, Jim Common, went out along with Ron Gardenhire just to make sure that Romero was okay. It looked like Romero was telling, hey, the guy hit the glove. I'm fine.
He just tore his glove off, but he got leather on it.
It's the glove that got injured. Ray Durham. He's had an infield hit, and he has hit a home run. But as a right-handed hitter this year in the regular season, he hit .208. But he's got a base hit.
Well, the A's are doing what they're supposed to do, meaning the right-handed hitters going back through the middle, not trying to pull Romero because his ball sinks away from him. And Durham, like Velarde, smashes it back through the middle. Romero reached out, but he couldn't get over there in time. Ball was hit too hard.
Now Adam Pyatt is going to come up. He's been introduced as a pinch hitter. And here comes Rick Anderson, the Minnesota pitching coach, out. Pyatt is a right-handed hitter. Tejada behind him, right-handed. They've got a right-hander. Hawkins ready in the bullpen.
But there's two things to think about here, John. One, they only have Burns left as a right-handed hitter on the A's bench. But two things. If you bring the right-hander in theory, it allows Durham to try to steal a base. They would rather have a left-handed pitcher out there to try to keep Durham from stealing a base. Although, as we know, you're not sure he's going to steal the base anyway. So I think that's why they're having this discussion out there. Gardenhire would rather have Romero out there to pitch to hold Durham at first base than to bring Hawkins in and maybe allow Durham to steal the base.
And if he also brought in Hawkins, maybe John Mabry comes up to hit.
But I think it's more for Durham than anything else.
Keep him close. Well, he is a real weapon. If the A's will use him,
he can be.
He's an excellent base stealer. The A's with 7 hits in the game now, but they have never had more than 1 hit in any inning in this game. 1 on, 1 out. Adam Pyatt. He hit .234 in the regular season, diving back safely. Nice pickup there by Minkiewicz as Durham gets back.
That's that unorthodox throw to first base, where they just step back and throw rather than give you the leg kick and throw.
I call that the Mulholland throw. Jerry Mulholland will use that play, and he uses it to devastating effect on occasion.
Yeah, the best I'd ever seen at that was Al Holland. He used to also pitch for the Giants for a while, but he was very good at that.
You call it the Al Holland play.
He had a very strong arm. You got to have a very strong, quick release to do that.
Pyatt, who was 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter in the regular season, and hit .234 and 137 at-bats overall.
So he's throwing a sinker, and you can see where he caught the ball is definitely out of the strike zone.
Now Santana has joined Hawkins in the Minnesota bullpen. Durham is the possible tying run. He's at first. Oh, man. Made him look bad on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tejada is on deck. Oakland had so many games this year where 8th or 9th innings they were down. And Tejada, or one of the other young Oakland stars, got a big hit. It seemed like Tejada more often than anybody else. The Twins have led this game since the 2nd inning. 2-1 now, last of the 8th. That's a foul.
Well, that's great movement on his sinking fastball away from Pyatt. He tried to pull that one, but I mean, great sinking action. I mean, this is a double play waiting to happen right there. See that ball there moving away from him. If he hits it, he's going to hit it on the ground. Be interesting to see if he's able to retire Pyatt, whether they will let Hawkins come in and pitch to Tejada.
Now Pierzynski is going to go out and visit with Romero. 1-2 so far. Since Durham has gotten to first, he stayed there. Rick Anderson wearing a microphone in the Minnesota dugout. Let's listen.
Self under control. Don't try to do too much. Just let it work.
Okay.
All right. Come on.
And Rick also was wearing that microphone when he left the dugout and went to the mound. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Basically, he said, don't overthrow, just let your sinker work.
And he strikes him out for out number 2. And now, immediately, Gardenhire heads out, and he's going to bring in LaTroy Hawkins to face Tejada.
See the movement on that pitch. I mean, the bottom falls out of it.
So Romero is finished. A runner at first, 2 down, and Hawkins is coming in to face Tejada. We're on the eastern side of San Francisco Bay at the Oakland Coliseum, the Network Associates Coliseum in Oakland. And right now, the Athletics, who have lost a Game 5 in each of the last 2 years, in each case to the Yankees, are trying to win one. But if they're going to win this one, they're going to have to come from behind. The Minnesota Twins, a pronounced underdog in this series, threatening to take it, but they're trying to protect a 1-run lead. 29-year-old, hard-throwing LaTroy Hawkins comes on to pitch now to Miguel Tejada, who may well win the Most Valuable Player award in the American League this year. And Tejada's had some success against Hawkins. And that fastball, 96 miles an hour for a strike. There is Durham, the possible tying run at first base.
And the Twins are playing the outfield very deep, which I like, because you do not want to give up an extra base hit. See how deep they are? That keeps you, they'll try to keep that ball from going to the wall for a double.
And a foul out of play. Another fastball. Quickly 0-2. Tejada has struck out, popped out, and hit into a force play. 0 for 3. And in this series, now 3 for 20. Mike Jackson, the veteran, joins Santana in the Minnesota bullpen. A foul back to the screen. He just stayed all with high hard stuff here.
Well, I also think this is a situation where if you're Durham, you almost have to go, because if you do not make it, at least you'll have Tejada with a fresh at bat, you know, starting off the 9th inning.
So send him.
Send him.
Let's go.
Yeah, and if he go, you know, if he makes it, obviously a single, which is, you know, would tie the ball game. But I think this is one of those times where you play the percentages, and the percentage says, if I'm out, I'd rather have Tejada start all over again next inning.
But it was not going in that previous 0-2 pitch. Not going here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Eric Chavez, the left-handed slugger, on deck. Left-hander Johan Santana getting ready in the bullpen for the Twins just in case. Chavez gets up there. Quite a game this has been. Been 1 walk, and that was an intentional walk. There have been no errors. Tight and tense. Just a bit low. Everything else had been up. 2-2. All fastballs here to Tejada.
Just barely out of the strike zone when it came across the front of the plate.
131 RBIs for Tejada this year. Right back to the screen. Now he looks like he might be closing in on that fastball now.
Well, he's had a few looks at it, but that one's pretty much in the middle of the plate, and he couldn't handle it. So it still tells you with 2 strikes, he's not sure he's going to get a fastball, so he's protecting a little bit. But most of the evening, this afternoon, I should say, he's been a little late on most of the fastballs that he has seen. And I think that's why you see them giving him a steady diet of fastballs, because he's been late all day.
Miguel Tejada, so dependable all season long. Now in the biggest game of the year. And a pop-up foul. And just into the upper deck, just above us. Well, they're playing hardball right now.
Yeah, well, when you see a guy hitting the ball on the plate, you know he's not going to hurt you with the fastball. And that's what he's been doing. He's been hitting the ball on the plate, not out in front of the plate, but on the plate. And you're afraid maybe to throw him something else, because he takes his speed off, he can get the barrel out in front.
Now is the time for Tejada to deliver in Game 5. big man. Durham at first, down by a run. Struck him out.
He was late on the fastball, so you're not going to throw him anything else that he can catch up with.
So the Athletics, with only 3 outs of life left to them, Miguel Tejada, as a deafening silence falls upon the Coliseum, but Troy Hawken gave him nothing but gas over and over and over again. The Twins going into the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. Billy Koch coming in. The Minnesota Twins into the 9th inning now, leading 2-1. A prohibitive underdog to the mighty Athletics, but now with a chance to win it. Coming up, October 19th, 13 nights of creepy movies, scariest places on earth, dares and the extreme illusions of Chris Angel, Mind Freak. 13 nights of Halloween, beginning October 19th on ABC Family. A new pitcher for the Athletics now. The closer, the hard-throwing Billy Koch. He's had 2 innings in this series. So far, 2 hits allowed, 1 strikeout. And Dustin Moore, the first hitter, and a fastball for a strike. And he's working with Greg Myers, who's come on to do the catching. Myers will enter into the number 2 spot of the order. Randy Velarde, who hit for the previous catcher, Hernandez, stays in to play first base in the 9th spot. Moore hitting 7th, relieved Kadire, the right fielder. Kadire went 2 for 2 with an intentional walk in this game today. Kadire 5 for 13 in this series. A young guy with very little big league experience. But it sounds like we'll be hearing a lot more of his name in the years to come.
Well, the tip of the hat to the Twins right-handed hitters. They knew they had to pick it up because their left-handers were not going to be able to handle Mulder, as you know, normally that's the way, and they stepped up. The right-handed hitters did all the damage so far in this ball game for the Twins.
Mark Mulder never did allow a left-handed hitter to get on base. 0 for 14 they went against Mulder today. That's too high from Koch. 2-2 the count. Tim Hudson right behind Mulder. Hudson went on 3 days of rest yesterday at the Metrodome. Now, if the defense had been a little stronger, it might have looked a little bit better. He was charged with 7 runs, but only 2 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings, although they were hitting the ball hard against him. 3-2 now.
The one thing I think is that, you know, the first game when they were able to come back, the Twins, you know, Twins came in here, everyone's saying they didn't have a chance against the Oakland A's, and they had to feel that way a little bit themselves. And all of a sudden, you know, they get a chance and they win game 1.
That's a foul. And after they just fell all over themselves for 2 or 3 innings at the beginning of that game.
And they were able to come back. But again, I think it was because they had their best lineup in there, which is left-handed hitting lineup against right-handed pitching. They were able to come back. And I really think that's, you know, gave them then, you know, the confidence to think, hey, we can beat these guys.
Yeah, I mean, that will be a question. If Oakland does not come back and win this game, that will be asked a lot this offseason. What if the A's had gone with Zito and Mulder the first 2, and then by extension Zito and Mulder in the last 2, instead of Hudson and Mulder the first 2, as they did? 3-2 the count. Wow, that's a little bit high. And ball 4 to Dustin Moore. So leadoff walk here. That is the first unintentional walk allowed in this game. There's Barry Zito, who did win game 3 at the Metrodome on Friday.
But as you know, I questioned that at the beginning because you're putting the Twins' best team on the field for the first playoff game they've been in a long time. All these guys have not been in a playoff game. You're putting their best team on the field at that point.
Including this series, where the Twins' record against left-handed starting pitchers this year, 23 wins and 31 losses.
And you had the ability, the A's had the ability to throw left-handed pitchers in 4 of the 5 games. It's be interesting here. I think if you're Gardenhire, you're going to try to maybe add one on here. Maybe drop down a bunt or something here, or hit and run. Try to do something to get you another run.
Krasinski 0 for 3. There's Eddie Guardado, the Twins closer. He's had some nightmares in this park this year. Krasinski drives one deep into right field. Dye going back. This ball is gone. A home run onto the top of the scoreboard, and that is a home run. A.J. Pierzynski has given them 2 more runs He hit only 6 home runs all year long, and this one just above the out-of-town scoreboard and out of here. It is 4-1 Minnesota, and suddenly the Coliseum sounds tomb-like.
Well, the Twins, just kept swinging and swinging, and we said eventually they're going to get a big hit. Well, this is the big hit. And you're right, it is awfully quiet here.
Now Denny Hockey. He got the first big hit of the day for the Twins. A 2-out RBI single in the 2nd inning. Then he hit a double in the 4th, struck out looking in the 6th, 2 for 3. A.J. Pierzynski, who went 4 for 4 in his first postseason game this past Tuesday, now gets a huge home run in the 9th inning against Billy Cox, the Oakland closer. And that is so huge when you figure Guardado has had some problems against this lineup in this park this year.
Well, you were thinking, well, I got one last shot against Guardado because, he didn't come in and just put it away in the previous games. But now, I mean, with a 3-run lead at minimum, he's going to be okay. There you see the guys you'll face, Chavez, Dye, and Justice.
I mean, all capable of going deep
if it was a 1-run ball game.
Joe Mays, the right-hander, now gets up as well with Guardado in the bullpen. 4-1 Minnesota. And the Athletics perhaps in some deep disbelief right now. That's a nice play from the Oakland third baseman Chavez to get Hockey.
Fastball pretty much in the middle of the plate and down, and Pierzynski puts a charge into it, and it definitely hit up on top.
Well, Pierzynski 7 hits in 16 at-bats in this series. There's a ball outside to Jacques Jones. He is the only Twins left-handed hitter to have gotten a hit today. Jacques Jones is 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts. And that one is called a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Oakland with some big hitters still to come in the 9th inning.
Well, if you are the Twins, you did everything right in today's ballgame. The right-handers took care of the left-hander, and so far here, the left-handed pitcher has been taken care of by the left-handed hitter. That's a good mixture for your team.
The young Minnesota Twins 3 outs away from moving on and beating the team in the league that had the best record as Jacques Jones swings at another bad one. 2 men down. A.J. Pierzynski with a huge 2-run homer here in the 9th. And then the Twins dugout reacted.
Get up! Get up! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah.
2 down here is Guzman. And that is a ball. 1 ball and no strikes.
John, that was the sound of a team that just thinks they won the series.
Yep.
They think that was the game-winning swing right there for sure.
And Guzman with a count of 1-1. He's had a couple of doubles today, 2 for 4. Well, the Twins clubhouse is ready. The champagne on ice. And suddenly that preparation began a little more in earnest back there in the clubhouse after Pierzynski's home run. I mean, I believe the A's and this crowd all thought that they were going to come back and get that run. That's off the glove of Koch, and the speedy Guzman reaches to keep the inning going. I think the Oakland people thought they were still going to come back and do something in the 9th inning, as they did so many times.
Well, I really think that that's the way you have to feel. I mean, it's only a one-run ball game at that point. One swing by any of these guys could win the ball game, and you see Koch not able to field the ball.
1987 when the Twins won the World Series, 1991 when they won the World Series, they won all of their home games. They were nearly unbeatable at the Metrodome. If they do in fact hold on and win this game, they'll have won 2 games in this series here in Oakland. The pitch out, and not a very good one, but the runner wasn't going anyway. Koski 0 for 4, the hitter, 1 ball and no strikes. Mark Mulder, what a magnificent performance by him on 3 days of rest, with the Twins constantly threatening, and he would not yield. Kept the Twins right in this game. I mean, he truly is an outstanding pitcher. 1-1 the count now to Corey Koski. Now, of course, it's not over yet. Chavez, Dye, Justice, 3 excellent hitters will take their shots against Guardado in the 9th inning. Guardado, who in game 1 was a little overexcited himself, being in the postseason for the first time after so many losing years as a Twin. But now he's got a little more comfort level here in this game, suddenly. And the excitement, the ability to generate noise has seemed to just have gone right out of the fans here at the Coliseum. There goes the runner. And he steals it anyway. That was a semi-pitch out. So it is the Twins who are stealing the bag here.
Well, you figure you just take off, because if you can get to second base, you get a chance to add 1 more. You've already gotten a 2-run lead here in the 9th, so you say, I'll just take a chance to try to add on. Smart play by Gardenhire to send him.
32,146. The official paid crowd of the Oakland Coliseum today. Very, very quiet at the moment. A runner at second. And strike 2 to Koski. David Ortiz on deck. He would be next. And the excitement level, conversely, is building there in the Twins dugout.
Well, you do not want to overreact, because you still have to go out there and get 3 outs. So you want to just maintain your composure and play as you have the first 8 innings.
And 3-run lead, even with everyday Eddie Guardado coming out of the bullpen. I mean, that's not automatic.
Nothing is automatic in this game. I mean, you felt like, well, Billy Koch come in 1, 2, 3, then we would see what the A's could do against Guardado. But it wasn't automatic. Billy Koch gave up the 2-run homer.
And it started with a walk to Dustin Moore. So Koski hanging tough here. 0 for 4 in the game. The Oakland Athletics, who won 3 straight World Series, 1972 through 74, one of the great teams of all time. But since that 74 World Series, when they've been in an elimination type scenario in the postseason, their record is 2 wins and 7 losses. Accompanying the A's club of the year after, the LaRussa A's of the Bash brothers, Dave Stewart back in the 80s and into the 90s. And then these last 3 years, that's what applies to this group. This is this group of Athletics time. The Tejada Chavez Oakland Athletics with Mulder, Zito, and Hudson. I mean, they gave the Yankees the last 2 years the most difficult series that the Yankees had, until the Yankees finally met their match in the Arizona Diamondbacks last November. David Ortiz, and that is called a strike. But this year the roles were kind of reversed. The Athletics were in the role of the Yankees, the heavy favorite, and the young upstart Twins were the team that's supposed to be taught a lesson about life in the postseason. But they learned quick. And that's inside. I mean, the first 2 innings or 3 innings of that game 1 on Tuesday, that may not have just been one of the worst 2-3 inning periods ever seen in a postseason game. That's one of those worst 2 or 3 innings you'll ever see in any game at any time in the big league. And yet they rebounded and they won that game. And maybe the series. And that's a base hit. And now they're going to add on to it. Dye cuts it off. Scoring is Guzman. Koski to third. And a double by Ortiz. And the Minnesota Twins are leading 5-1 in Game 5. And Anaheim is lingering just a couple of days away.
Well, Billy Koch basically throws a lot of fastballs. Here's another fastball right there, and it's lined in the right field for a base hit. It's cut off by Dye. He gets the ball back in quickly. And there's Gardenhire. He's excited. One more. Every run they tack on, obviously, makes them more confident that this ball game is over.
Miguel Tejada, 0 for 4 today, never got the ball out of the infield. And only 3 for 21 in this series.
You know, John, we talked earlier. Ray Durham did a great job today of getting on base. He hit the home run to drive in the 1 run the A's have. But we felt like he could have been the difference in this ball game. He got a single in the first inning. And he stole the base with 2 outs and 2 strikes on Chavez instead of taking off and, you know, running or trying to force the action early. The most aggressive team on this field today is the one that's winning this ball game. The Twins have been aggressive from the beginning.
Well, look at that first inning right away before Durham ever got up there. Guzman hit a clean double, but yet tried to stretch it into a triple.
Yeah, exactly. And I said at that time, I thought it was a good play. I mean, be the aggressor, and you usually come out on top when there's a 5th game or a 7th and deciding game.
Torrey Hunter fouls one back over the screen into the crowd. Hunter is 1 for 4. The Minnesota Twins, there was a scenario, there was a schedule, there was a plan where this 2002 season would have been played without the Minnesota Twins. Not that they would have moved somewhere else, they would have ceased to exist. They called it contraction. Well, they fought that off. And now the Twins are 3 outs away from having fought the Oakland Athletics off and to move on into Anaheim. Last chance for the Athletics, and they need 4 to stay alive. Eddie Guardado coming in. The San Francisco-Oakland Bay Area, the center of the baseball world on this day. Here in Oakland, the Twins and the Athletics at Game 5. A little bit later across the bay in San Francisco, the Giants and the Braves at Game 4. But right now, that's not the way they're looking at it in Minnesota. Right now, Minnesota is the center of the baseball world. The Minnesota Twins, the unlikely Twins, who were an underdog not only this year, but were an underdog back in 1987 when they ended up winning it all. They beat the Detroit Tigers, who were a heavy favorite in the League Championship Series that year. And if, in fact, Guardado can get these final 3 outs and hold this lead, and it is a 4-run lead, they'll be a heavy underdog starting Tuesday in Anaheim.
But the American League at this point looks like they're going to have a whole new cast of characters playing to represent the American League in the World Series.
Eric Chavez. 1 ball and no strikes. The likely first game matchup in Anaheim would be Kevin Apier, perhaps versus Joe Mays, who's now getting some throwing in the bullpen as Chavez fouls one away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Guardado only had 6 blown saves the whole year. 45 saves, he blew 6. There's Mays up in the bullpen. But 2 of those 6 blown saves were right here at the Coliseum.
And the difference today in Guardado is he comes out throwing strikes.
And by the way, even though the Angels would be the favorite and have a better record than the Twins, I have to correct myself, that series would start in Minneapolis on Tuesday because they were a division winner and the Angels were the wild card team. I beg your pardon. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There is Hocking, and safe at first.
Chavez kept battling. And you see Hawking make the dive. He gets up quickly, but Chavez runs pretty well. He beats it easily.
Chavez with his second hit of the game. He's had a pretty good series. 8 for 21 for Chavez with 5 batted in. Here's Jermaine Dye, 1 for 3. The Athletics need base runners right now.
If you're the Athletics, your goal at this point is to bring the tying run to the plate. That has to be your first goal this inning. Try to get the tying run to the plate.
Well in this inning,
but he still has some fouls to take.
David Justice on deck. The strike, and Dye complains about that call to Joe West.
Well, Dye is trying to get on base any way that he can. Because again, they need right there on the knees on the inside corner.
The screen. 2-2 the count. Well, the crowd trying to muster some life of their own to inspire the Athletics, but they're having a hard time.
I think if you get one more runner on here, they'll start to feel like they have a chance of coming back.
And Kavich at first is playing behind Chavez. 2-2. This could be 2. Koski with a good pickup, the second one, and Hawking will make sure of the 1 out. Had a hard time getting it out of his glove. Nice pickup by Koski, though.
That was a bullet down to Koski. Dye hits this ball sharply, but he gets the big hop, which made it a lot easier. And he makes sure, now he makes sure he gives Hawking a good throw. And you're right, Hawking could not get out of his glove.
You see the disappointment in the dugout that they did not get the double play there. Just couldn't get out of his glove.
Well, he caught it for one time.
I mean, why does that happen? You see that happen occasionally.
Well, a lot of times they have large gloves and they catch it up near the web. But he was making sure also.
David Justice, and that's a foul. Justice 0 for 3. Justice with that 1991 Atlanta Brave team that was beaten by the Twins in the World Series. It was quite a series. Justice had a 5 RBI game in that series, but today he's been held hitless. Now to right center, and he's got a hit into the alleyway. Dye is going to be held up at third on the double by Justice.
Well, as we said, you know, the A's had plans of being able to put some runs up here against Guardado, but they're just so far behind that it takes one more before you put pressure on him. One more base hit. That ball's hit in the gap by Justice. And they need one more base hit to bring the tying run to the plate.
And Mark Ellis, who is such a catalyst for the Athletics when he came up from the minor leagues. This Oakland team which struggled for most of the first 2 months of the season. They were below 500. And that is a called strike. Ellis is 1 for 3 in this game. Eddie Guardado, who grew up an A's fan because of the A's sluggers from nearby Stockton, California, over in the valley to the east of here. And he saw both Giants games and A's games, but as a kid, but he preferred the A's because at first when he was a young kid they had Dave Kingman. He loved to watch Kingman. And then later they had McGuire and Canseco hitting those long homers. Of course, that's not his game now. In the regular season, the A's gave him lots of trouble. And he's getting into some serious trouble right here. Terrence Long, a left-handed hitter who also holds one of the great moments of the A's season. He helped turn that season around in a big way for their great stretch run and their 20-game winning streak. Down the left field line deep, and this ball game is a one-run game. Mark Ellis into the seats, and it is 5-4 Minnesota. Only hit 6 home runs all season.
Well, Guardado had to throw a strike, and he got it on the inside part of the plate, and Mark Ellis put a charge into it. No doubt about this one. That's a big fly right there.
Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, has been out to visit with Guardado as we see that one again. Just a shot, no doubt about it.
Well, they want to leave Guardado in there so he can pitch to the left-handed hitting Terrence Long.
And so the Athletics and their fans have awakened. They're not dead just yet. And there's only one out of the inning. Long is the possible tying run.
Now it's not just a 2-run homer by Przinsky, but the RBI double by Ortiz that has the Twins ahead.
And that's called a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Guardado, in his last outing here, had a blown save on a home run in the 9th by Miguel Tejada for Oakland's 18th consecutive win as Long hits a foul off his foot. Ball and a strike. This was back Labor Day weekend on a Sunday. So Guardado, one of the best closers in all of baseball this year, but this is the place where he used to root for the home team. This is the place where he struggled more than anywhere else. And now here it is again, with the Twins needing just 2 outs more to win this series. Torrey Hunter into left center, and that is out number 2. And now Randy Velarde. The Minnesota bullpen gets busy in earnest again. The left-hander Santana, the right-hander Mike Jackson warming up now. Mays, who's just getting some work in, has taken a seat out there. So here is Velarde. Velarde, who was a catalyst for this ball club a couple of years ago, acquired near the end when this was a real young Oakland team. And he came in and made a huge difference for them. Velarde 2 for 6 against Guardado. 2 down. Oakland down by just a run. And that's a strike. Minnesota, which had a 1-run lead going into the night, then they got 3 runs to make it a 4-run lead. And who knew that they would need all of those runs? In fact, we don't know yet if those runs are enough. Changeup off the outside. Velarde is 2 for 4 in this series. And he was injured most of the year. 2 home runs and 133 regular season at-bats. The Athletics trying to rise from the ashes here in Game 5. A little flare. That's going to be in. Base hit. And now the possible tying run is on base.
There's a little base hit, a little flare in the right field. I was trying to figure this out. Ray Durham should be the hitter. Greg Myers went to the plate.
Greg Myers just walked out to home plate, which would have had him hitting out of order, but then the somebody got to him. I mean, he signed up for it. Durham went out to the on-deck circle, and Myers went to the plate. And this is how they reacted to it in the dugout when Myers went to the plate. And Ken Maka, the bench coach, pointed it out to Art Howe. I mean, half the dugout went out to go get it.
But I mean, I'm surprised that Ray Durham didn't know when he's supposed to hit. He's been in the ball game all the time.
So now Velarde, who's not really a base stealer, the possible tying run at first. And Ray Durham, who's had 3 hits today, 2 hits and a home run, 2 singles and a home run. A strike, and it's 0-1. He's had 1 hit in 9 lifetime at-bats against Guardado. Again, Durham as a right-handed hitter, that's been his weaker side this year, hitting only .208 as a right-handed hitter.
And they're playing deep in the outfield and protecting against the ball going in the gap.
1 ball, 1 strike. And you see how they're playing it out there.
They want to be able to cut off everything in here because if it rolls to the wall, Velarde would be able to score.
Now remember, any ball in the air could be a real problem for anybody on the field with the sun lying low over the upper rim of the stadium. And now the count is 2-1 to Durham. Durham was hit .350 in this series, 7 for 20, 2 homers, 1 an inside to Parker, and 3 doubles. There are no clouds whatsoever. The shadows of October have descended across the plate. Pitcher throwing from the sunshine into the shadows. 2-2.
Good pitch there by Guardado. Ball tailing away. Well, what you do not want to do is miss with this pitch and go 3-2, which would allow the base runner at first to have a running start.
Radke will get the win if Guardado can get this final out. The Athletics still breathing. And Durham back to the screen. It's 2-2 the count. What a crazy inning. The Oakland Athletics appeared all but dead and buried after the Twins put 3 on the board. The atmosphere in here was like a funeral. And then Oakland jumps back into it. Mark Ellis with a 3-run homer. And with 2 down, Velarde has hit a single. This will be the 27th pitch of the inning, thrown by Guardado. 3-2.
And Minkiewicz wants to know if they're going to hold him on. This ball clearly outside. But they're going to hold Velarde on the bag at first base.
The ball into the gaps here, down the lines, with him running. He could score. There he goes. And a pop-up, and they're battling the sun. Minkiewicz doesn't see it. Hawking comes over, and he's got it. And the Minnesota Twins have won the division series. The Oakland Athletics, with a last gasp in the 9th inning, a dramatic comeback. But the tying run is stranded on base, and the heavy underdog, the Minnesota Twins, have won this series. And a wild scrum out there near the pitcher's mound. The Twins are heading home. They'll have the home field, the Metrodome, at their beck and call against the Anaheim Angels, the heavy underdog who vanquished the Yankees.
Well, I think that this just proves a point that in the 5th game, it doesn't matter who the best team is. Anybody can win that 5th game or the 7th game of the World Series because you played so much to get to that point. You know each other well, and it's just a matter of who executes best that day. And I'd have to say that the Minnesota Twins definitely deserve this victory.
So the Oakland Athletics, for the 3rd year in a row, have lost a decisive postseason game. Twice to the Yankees, now once to the Minnesota Twins, and they are the first team in history to lose a decisive game 3 straight years. Not the legacy that they were hoping for. And And the Minnesota Twins, who stayed alive yesterday with their victory at the Metrodome over Hudson, working on short rest. And today, they overcame a gritty performance by Mulder on short rest. And for the Oakland Athletics, everything was so strong. The 20-game winning streak. They finished the regular season 35-8, the best record in the league. And yet, first round disappointment again.
Well, the Twins came out. They were the aggressors as well, you know, not only just hitting wise, not on the offensive side, but also from the pitching side with Radke. He was very aggressive in the strike zone, getting ahead of the hitters and keeping them off balance. So, you know, Minnesota Twins just came out and played like they had no fear, and they ended up winning this ball game.
And poetic justice at the end. Radke and Hocking. Radke gets the win. Hocking, who had some big hits, and he gets the final put out. Those are the two Twins who've been around longer than any others. They've been through more of the losing for the Twins. Congratulations to Brad Radke and to Denny Hocking, integral parts of the Twins overcoming the mighty A's at the Coliseum. A.J. Pierzynski with that dramatic, although unlikely, home run. He only hit 6 in the regular season, but he slugged one against Billy Koch in that 9th inning. A rally ultimately that they needed badly. Gary Miller on the field. Let's go to Gary.
A.J., take us through this last inning. Did you think the home run you hit off of Koch, who was one of the best relievers in the league, was going to mean so much when it came to the bottom of the ninth?
I was hoping it didn't, but it did. I mean, it ended up, the biggest hit was Ortiz's hit. Getting the 2-out hit to drive in an extra run. You know, no one said it was going to be easy. It wasn't easy. They fought till the end. Give the A's a lot of credit. They're a hell of a team. We just came out on top. No one gave us a chance, and we're still here.
You got a lot of your fans here. Eddie Guardado is from this area. That may be one of the reasons he has a tough time pitching here. The Tejada home run over Labor Day weekend. Ellis takes him deep down the line. You're calling those pitches. Take us through a hair-raising bottom of the ninth.
Oh, man. He shook off to Justice. We went to go with the slider. He threw him a fastball, and he hit it in the gap. That's why he's the great postseason player he is. And, you know, we just had a battle, man. It was Ray Durham, the guy that, you know, before the season said we got no chance. We were flukes. Ended up making the last out. So, you know, he had a great at-bat, and Eddie just finished him off. And you know what? Denny Hocking to catch the last out, it couldn't be any more perfect.
A.J., the Polish Brigade comes through with yourself and Minkiewicz and Koski. You and Torrey Hunter were sent down in 2000. You make the All-Star team this year. How can you describe what's happened in 2002?
This has been a dream come true. You know, the only way it can be better is if we win the World Series. To go to the All-Star game, go to the playoffs, win with this group of guys are incredible, man. They're awesome. Bunch of survivors. We were all in AAA in 2000. Talking about that the other day, saying, hey, we had the best AAA team ever in 2000, and you know, now we're all here together and we're playing well here.
Well, and you're heading for the LCS. Congratulations to A.J. Pierzynski and the Twins. The Angels are next. Back to you.
Thanks, Gary. Congratulations to A.J. Pierzynski, who had quite a series. That 4-hit first game, which they won, and this dramatic home run in the 9th inning that we didn't even realize how important it was ultimately when he hit it. And he went 7 for 16 in this series. Let's go back again to Gary Miller, this time with Brad Radke.
Brad, that game had a little bit of everything. When you were in there, it was nice and calm. You survived the first game here when the circus atmosphere around you, and you stuck in there and your team came back to win. Today you hung in there, gave yourself a lead, and then the A's come back in the bottom of the ninth. What was it like in this dugout?
I knew when we were up 5-1, you know, a lot of guys in the dugout, you know, we're celebrating a little bit, but we knew we still had 3 outs to go. And, you know, it was, we got a few guys on base, you know, we just kind of got mellow a little bit, and just hopefully we get on the winning side.
This is the team they wanted to contract. The Twins weren't even supposed to exist this year. You didn't know when you were heading to spring training if you'd be there. You were the cornerstone, the first guy they gave a big contract. How much responsibility is that to lead this team?
I'm just going out there just do my job, you know, and that's just to keep us in the ball game for 6 or 7 innings, and you know, that's all we had to do. And you know, we made Mulder work today a little bit, but he pitched a great game too, coming on short day's rest.
A lot of people doubted you. They got the big 3, and they've earned their reputation. You guys went with a 4-man rotation. Did you feel like you had something to prove in this series?
You bet. You know, we didn't play. I think this is the best game we played during this series, and we just had to go out there and just play our game, and we did that, and this feels good.
Well, they're heading back to the LCS. Congratulations, Brad Radke and the Twins. This is a team that's coming from nowheres, Will. Back-to-back 65 loss seasons. Now they've had plus 85 the last two. Back to you.
Brad Radke, 2-0 in this postseason series, his first postseason series. And Joe, now the Twins move on to play the Anaheim Angels. They'll start the series at the Metrodome, but the Angels, who believe themselves to be a team of destiny, were 3-3 at the Metrodome this year.
Well, it could be a great series. Make no mistake about it. The home field for the Twins is very, very important. And if you look at the starting pitching for the California Angels, they have Jared Washman, but then after that, they're going to have to match up with the Twins. So I would say that, don't discount the Twins again. These guys are playing hard. They're playing great. And contrary to what we saw in the first game, they play very good defense. So the Twins have as good a chance of representing the American League as the Angels do. And I think it's going to be a great series.
Starts Tuesday at the Metrodome. Thanks to Phil Orleans, Jimmy Moore, part of our regular ESPN Sunday Night Baseball crew, Marty Aronoff, Peter Pasquarelli. That does it for another year of baseball on ESPN in association here in the postseason with ABC Family. The Minnesota Twins are still going. Congratulations to them. John Miller for Joe Morgan. We'll see you on the radio later this week. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Hey, I told you we're going to...